Lights out, we're underway. It's Motorsport Republica podcast.
Welcome back, Tommy. We got a special guest, Dave Superbike Shaw, the famous Dave Superbike Shaw is back. Infamous.
Yes, good to be back, guys. We've had a great couple of days. So
yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah. We started on Friday afternoon about 2:00 and I went to the footy, and then what a weekend of racing. I mean, it was just. I don't remember like two amazing events happening, three even with the Indy 500.
Yeah.
And then that MotoGP weekend was just phenomenal.
The racing, it would have to be one of the best weekends of like just pure MotoGP, Moto3, Moto2 racing.
Sunday,
of all time.
yeah, probably one of the best Sundays of all time.
Yeah. And I guess I forgot, maybe it's underrated Silverstone, how good that track is. I don't really remember it being so awesome for racing. But
well, they have changed it over the years, but it's so fast and flowing. That corner going onto the straight where we were talked about Roberts and Sheen back in the day, having that handlebar to handlebar, finish was amazing, and it still brings that type of flow back.
It just brings such a surprise. It's just such a surprise weekend. The tyres were such a surprise what they were going to do. I mean, we'll get into this shortly.
Yeah, so much, man.
So much to unpack.
I mean, and the messages all day, just people going, we need to talk about this.
Inbox blew up already from Senna, and then all the rest of the racing, it's just, if we can't get back to you, we're sorry. It was just wild.
It was non-stop. It was fastest fingers in the West, they call me Davos at school.
I'm not surprised.
They'll leave his bedroom walking sideways.
Just keep your hands on top of the table.
But as always, we want to thank our trusted partners at Moto Heaven.
Yep.
James, take it away.
Motoheaven.com.au, our favourite guys down there. Check them out. They got their birthday sale on right now. Moto Heaven turns 19, I think, today. So they've got a massive sale, 10% off HJC, Dad. They've got, what else have they got? Up to, I think, 35% on Alpine Stars MX. Heaps of really, really good stuff. So check them out, motoheaven.com.au. They got a birthday sale, and you can get up with some really good, cheap gear on all the best brands as well. So
that's awesome.
It's good, so check them out.
Yeah, and guys, YouTube is going really well. Like, subscribe as always. Keep commenting. We love all the interactions.
Yeah, we'll be filming our Patreon as well for our next one, probably next week actually, for the end of the month.
And we've got a bit of a surprise pod happening in a couple of days. We'll probably have it launched released by the weekend, I'd say.
I hope so, yeah.
We're going to try a few cameras, so it's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
All right, let's get into it. Come on, MotoGP Silverstone 2025.
We got any results?
All right, I'm gonna skip over sprint. I'll tell you why. Because there's too much to unravel, and I want to go through the whole field in the main race. So the winner, Marco Fraud Watch Bezz for Aprilia. I mean, was that paying 1,000 to 1? You reckon at the start of the weekend?
Yeah.
The Quinella with Johan Zarco backs it up after his incredible result at Le Mans. Marquez, third. Morbidelli, fourth. Alex Marquez, fifth. They all crashed. Third, fourth, and fifth crashed.
True.
Acosta, sixth. Miller, seventh. Aldeguer, eighth. Digia, ninth. Joan Mir, 10th. Vinales, 11th. Raul Fernandez, 12th. Alex Rins, 13th. Binder, 14th. Luca Marini, 15th. So on and so forth.
Chantra?
Dead last, 64 seconds behind the leader.
And I must say that he's probably the most consistent rider in the whole bunch because he's constantly last.
And Bastianini back to second last. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened in the race for him. I believe that a few of them did get 16-second penalties. So
yeah.
I think Oliveira, Bastianini, Salvadori, and Chandra all had penalties. So that's why they were so far behind. But then again, it's that's still the racing, isn't it? So
yeah, it's wild. But it was just. I actually got to let you in a bit of a secret that I haven't told you that annoyed me, and I'm gonna throw KO under the bus here. So I had to wait for the old man to come home, and we're about 3 minutes delay.
Yes,
had to wait 3 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, hurry up! He's like, got to take a piss. I'm like, hurry up! Like, we gotta go. We gotta watch this. And then you message me going, I'm
like, okay, are you watching?
Yeah,
because this is after the red flag.
Yeah, and then I turn on KO and I go from start. And I know I press from start.
Yes.
and it opens up, and it's Marquez on the ground. And I'm like, no, and it blew it all for me.
Yeah, and we're turning around going, I just saw red. I don't know if it was Bagnaia or Marquez. I'll just turn my back on it.
It was so annoying, but that's all I knew. That's all I knew. And then obviously watch the race start. Alex gone.
I think the easiest way to do this is just let's start with Marquez.
Which one?
Alex. Alex Marquez. Crashing in the first corner. From what I believe today, reading his rear, he was trying to disengage the rear ride height device because you only can disengage it if you have enough brake force, and he hit the brake too hard. Went down.
Cold tyres as well, windy track.
He's off. He is off the bike. He's walking back to the pits. And then...
His race is done.
His race is done. 2 laps later, Marquez crashes from the lead. Again, I mean, what's going on?
I know.
He's just got to keep it on the road. He's going to win the championship. He blames wind, but, you know, there was 22 other riders there that didn't crash on that corner. So, red flag comes out. They're all back in the race. I mean, that just, you couldn't, I mean, he got, in my head, I'm thinking Valentino Rossi's at home with a brick throwing it at his TV.
Yeah.
Because Morbidelli's VR46 has brought out this red flag.
Well, the thing is like just going back to Alex,
Yeah.
he had a real big rant about the safety of Silverstone.
Yeah, okay.
So when he actually came off, he slid and his bike went straight, like it went straight into the air fence. And he was saying, if I was hitting that turn and it wasn't a start, and I was going at full pelt like a normal lap, I was straight into that wall. Straight into that air fence.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no gravel, there's nothing to slow me down. It's just that like a bitumen. So
Well, it's the same place where Guan Wan Zhou had his big crash in F1 and he ended up on the side fence. Do you remember that crash?
Yeah.
Because the cars and the bikes just don't slow down over it.
They don't.
They have to have gravel to slow these cars down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a different incident altogether, obviously. But it's an interesting first corner. There's always going to be carnage there as well, isn't there? So
I've never seen a crash like that in a first, but you said that he had that problem with his...
Yeah, well, he didn't have a problem. From all reports, he had to have a certain amount of... They actually brake a little bit harder into that first turn.
But there was, what I'm saying is there was some sort of... fault or not fault, but something didn't work as it should have.
No,
it's just him.
Yeah.
He braked too hard. So you have
Yeah.
to brake a bit harder than you should into that first corner to disengage the...
Yeah.
Because you've got to
The
remember...
ride height device.
Same as Le Mans last weekend, it's a flowing first turn, where usually they've got a hard braking first turn. And you need a lot of front brake to get rid of the ride height
Because he had
device.
hardly any angle on that.
Yeah, just
when he
let
came
go.
in.
And that's
Yeah.
only happens under braking, doesn't it? The bike doesn't let go unless it's...
Well, it'll be reasonably cold time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. And like, yeah, you're right. We'll get to the whole Marc Marquez, Alex Marquez thing as well. But like, oh, it's the coffee machine. Sorry, guys. I was like, what the hell is that? The coffee machine's going off. The crazy...
Sack the barista.
Yeah, that's me. Oh, Cody, come on, seriously. So not the restart, but when Marc Marquez went down, Bagnaia was quick.
Yeah.
He was so fast, and
Yeah.
then Quartararo was obviously trying to run off as well. Morbidelli is quick, and then obviously the restart happens. But Bagnaia said when he restarted, they put a brand new rear on it, as they're going to do. They put a brand new rear on it, and they said, he said it changed the bike completely. So his bike was so super rideable. It was fast. He had traction. It was the bike to ride to a degree. And then they changed, for whatever reason, they put a new tire on the same tire, and he couldn't hook it up. It was spinning, and the same thing happened to Alex.
Yeah, it's Bagnaia though. We'll have to unload that later because it's got to be more of a mental thing now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, like with Marcus riding around that.
I mean,
bike.
there's other ride. I mean, it was tough on that medium. Obviously, I mean, the soft was the right choice in the end, but I think they found out from the sprint that a Ducati probably couldn't run that soft tire for the whole sprint. It barely lasted the sprint, they said. So they're thinking there's no way it's going to last the whole Grand Prix.
Yeah, for sure.
So they had to put the medium on it. Others gambled. It was the right choice in the end. But who would have known if Marquez and Baggs put a soft tire on it, what would have happened? I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it,
Yes,
Davos?
yes.
It's amazing that they gambled on tires and it actually worked.
Yeah,
it never works.
I know.
It never
But you know
works.
what? And what surprised me, and I didn't watch the practice sessions probably as much as you did through the weekend because I mean Monaco was on and we had a lot going on. But I didn't realize it was going to be such a gamble with these tires. I didn't realize there was going to be such a difference between the soft and the medium.
Yeah,
Because they all ran softs in the sprint, I assume. So there wasn't going to be a I didn't see it as that big of a crazy sort of tyre war.
The conditions were a lot different for the Sunday as well. Because it was super blustery and it had heaps of rain overnight on the Saturday night.
Yes.
So everything was like, I think it was almost like a wet warm up. It wasn't, but it just cleans the track.
And also the tracks are like all around the world are different as far as the material that is used in the asphalt from usually sourced from local quarries or whatever. Will have certain different abrasive qualities compared to Phillip Island, Silverstone, Magello. So tyres will work differently and last longer on some tracks where other ones will get chewed up.
But Bagnaia was just so slow in the sprint, wasn't he? Like just going backwards.
And then Zarco got him.
Yeah,
But it's got to be a setup.
Yeah, well, that's what they said. They just couldn't nail the setup.
Yeah.
He's got no feeling in the front.
Yeah, that's what it is. No feeling in the front for Bagnaia.
And they're saying that, and I was hearing today, that he doesn't even tell the difference between a soft and a medium. He can't tell the difference. He's got no feeling.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're running this 24 spec chassis, but I mean, there's got to be some changes in this 25 bike that's had to suit Marquez rather than suit him. Has to be.
Yeah, but like, how much development can Marc Marquez do in this small amount of time?
In 2 tests, yeah, I know.
So like, it's come from a year ago. This is how these bikes get built a year ago, and they put all their data into that. Obviously, Mark's going to have an input, but I think maybe they've just taken the wrong step in whatever direction that is. Like, no one really knows. They don't know. So
are they developing the bike around Mark?
Well,
and Bagnaia's getting technology or development based on what Mark's doing? Or?
I think it's too early to say. He's only been in there for 6 races and a couple of tests. So, like, how much can you really change? Mark, you go.
I remember Casey Stoner was saying about when at Honda with Mark and went, with Honda, that his development style suited him, but no one else. And everyone else finds it hard to ride.
Marquez is the same thing. Like, and Marquez studied a lot of Casey's data when he went to the Honda, but like, Mark can just make that bike work. He can ride a bike where if the front's a bit floaty, he can adapt his style. Where Bagnaia is, again, like, he's more like a Jorge Lorenzo. Like, he has
to be perfect.
The bike has to be perfect.
Yeah. And there's a lot of riders in the history that have been like that. It's as soon as something it starts to trickle rain or something happens, they're off the boil. And Marquez is just time in, time out, just adjusts to the conditions and the bike.
And that's what
except that Honda at the end.
Yeah, but that's what makes a rider's championship, because it's all about how they adapt, and the best one who adapts generally wins.
Yes.
And they'll be the champion. And it's all well and good to have everything perfect, but life's not like that.
No.
And you've got to make it work.
Talk about Tom. You talking about? I put up the clip today of Bagnaia, and if his world championships are being diminished.
Yeah.
And now you've got this situation where Mark can really ride around the bike and he can't.
Yeah, and we asked that question on the pod a year ago, and it's just hard. I mean, it's hard to see Bagnaia. He's just gone, like, he's mentally gone. And look, he might, in 2 races' time, he might come back, win a race, and go, and we all can chew our words and go, he's back. But for me, he's too far gone now. I mean, the point difference,
74 points or something? 75 points?
He scored 4 points in the last 2 weekends.
Is that what it
is? 4 points in 4 races.
Done. And that, like, how he lost the rear,
And Marquez, you got to remember, this guy, that the tyre wasn't working, the Ducati wasn't working, and just fights for that 3rd place. And that's going to...
After crashing.
So this red flag situation, 3 laps, they can restart. Even if you've crashed, you can jump back on the bike and start. What do you think of that rule?
I don't know.
So you crash on the first corner, Dave, and then it's 2.5 laps time. You're already back in the pits. 2.5 laps time, the red flag comes out.
Yep.
You can jump on your spare bike and restart the race.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a problem with that. I mean...
You know why it's brought in? Is because if there's an oil spill or something like that, and then the whole field have gone down, or 3/4 of the field have gone down, they can all restart again. But it's just amazing it's the last 3 laps. Why isn't it the last lap?
So, Tommy, anyway, I've been looking at getting a new helmet.
Okay, right you are.
A replica helmet.
Okay.
So I'm looking at either like a Marc Marquez, Shoei, Rossi AGV, or controversially like a Nakagami Arai? What do you think?
Well, I think Nakagami Arai might not be a bad idea because they'd have to build them strong. Repeat hits throughout the whole weekend.
That's right.
Where would you find something like that?
Mate, motoheaven.com.au. They have all the helmet brands that you want. They've got all the racing suits, jackets, big brands, HJC, Shoei, Dainese, Alps. Mate, they have everything. How good's that?
That is so good. And I heard there's free delivery over $150 as well.
Free delivery over $150. Super fast dispatch, which is amazing all around the country. They do an excellent job. You just check out their Google reviews. It's like all 5 stars. It's pretty amazing. They do a great job.
Give the people the website.
motoheaven.com.au. Check them out. They are the best in the business for all your motorcycle needs. And they've got a parts finder. You can get all the parts you want. Brake discs, chains, sprockets, spark plugs. I know that's all gobbledygook to you, Tom, but... they are the best in the business. Head down to motoheaven.com.au and they will look after you. Maybe because it takes 3 laps to realize there's an oil spill. Sometimes it might just be a little bit offline.
Yeah, cool.
Then one rider might hit it, the other rider might hit it, and then they realize it's oil.
Yeah. That's why you're on a podcast.
Yeah, I think that's the reason.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. That's it's just an interesting one, and it's just it couldn't happen. It just couldn't, the script.
Bro, when I saw
both Marquez's down, Bagnai's for second,
and looking quick
at this stage, happy with the bike. Red flag drops. They put the new tire bags nowhere, and Marquez is.
Are you suggesting a conspiracy?
Oh no, I don't.
All the comments are, but both Marquez boys got kissed on the dick by the motorsport gods because it was but as you said, what's he doing crashing?
Oh, it doesn't make sense. I mean, he's done this. He's done it at Jerez. He's done it at in Coda was a different thing. I know it was a bit like a concentration again.
Yeah.
But he went into that race. He knew they didn't have the ideal setup. He knew it was windy, cold conditions.
Because it was Quartararo in front of him, wasn't he?
No, he was leading? He hit the lead at that point,
and he was running away.
Yeah.
He was. That's right. He was 0.8 up. He managed to gap.
I couldn't believe that, and he was just on fire.
And how are you hanging onto the bike? Just because he didn't want to stall. He had to keep on the bike.
Sliding off the bike. And he hits those barriers.
Yeah. I've never seen a crash like that. It was just happened in slow motion, innit? And just
couldn't. Yeah, obviously I could believe it because I bloody got I saw it.
Kudos to the leathers.
The KO. Yeah.
He slid along. That's almost like
shout out to Alpine Stars.
Nemean clothing slide time.
Yeah.
5.1 second slide time, because he was a long time on his shoulder, and I'm surprised he hasn't got. It didn't go through. But what Alpine Stars?
Alpine Stars.
Shout out to Alpine Stars. That's his leathers.
Yeah. Shout out, 100%.
And I think kangaroo skin too.
Yeah, they are. Yes.
But it's just funny how it works, and he got extremely lucky. But you need luck on your side. Talk about luck. They say Marquez is one of the luckiest riders, but he also went through 5 years of just absolute shit and super unlucky where that bike hit his arm. But he's also been lucky. There's been 2 times in his world titles where Pedrosa and Lorenzo took each other out at Jerez, and Lorenzo in 2019 pinballed Rossi and Pedrosa in Barcelona, and he just ran off of a 25-second lead, broke the championship open, and that was it. So you still got to have luck.
It happened, you're talking about Jerez with Pedrosa. That was coming out of that hairpin.
Yeah.
And then Marquez just slid up the inside and left, and then it happened again in Barcelona.
Yeah.
When Lorenzo was on the Ducati.
But you can have
Honda.
You're going to have luck, and that will get you so far, but you've got to have absolute supreme talent.
Oh, of course.
To get you through all the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Everyone's
you make your own luck. That's
right. Yeah.
You know where to position the bike and that sort of thing. But anyway, back to it. It's you couldn't write that.
He was probably more pissed off that the fact that he didn't save that. Because his record on saving those sort of falls,
that's true.
Because he's still hanging on. They're probably thinking to the end, this is going to grip it, and I'm going to pick it up.
The post-race, he was pissed off. You could tell he was pissed off. I don't know if you, because you were watching Monaco.
Yeah.
They do the Parc Fermé. He didn't want to bar anyone. He was pissed off. He knew he messed up.
I'm surprised they were so tentative on those first few laps. I'm surprised one of the Ducatis didn't pop a soft on the front.
Like a Furman or something.
Yeah, just someone to give it a go, because I mean, you didn't know that Quartararo was going to come out in that restart and just he was 4 seconds ahead in the first 3 laps or something, just blitz him, which doesn't happen, especially not on a Yamaha.
And we were just waiting for that also for him to. Because I was saying to James, we're watching it. Hang on, he's got this. He's just going to get reeled in.
Yeah, me too. I was waiting. We were waiting for the medium to come back at the soft, and it never did.
It looked like it for like a lap.
Yeah.
Bezz, when Bezz was chasing him, he took like half a second off him in a lap, and I was like, all right,
it's happening.
We're on. Or someone, it might not have been Bezz, because I think Bezz was running a soft, but. Whoever it was, and it didn't happen.
Well, the same thing happened with Miller. Miller started going back, and then he started to come back forward at the end of the Grand Prix. I was like, it's like they've gone through a graining phase.
Yeah.
And then they've come back to him, because very strange. I mean, it was a very unusual. I mean, tyre talk's boring, I suppose, but that's the only contact patch to the tarmac, isn't it? So.
Well, what do you put down to Bezz with like the last?
We're not going there, are we? I've been having death threats.
I know, but the GPs that we've been watching, he's been like 13th, 12th,
running off, crash.
Really, I mean, what was it about? I mean, look, of course he had a good setup. Obviously, it worked.
Yeah.
But it's such a radical.
I know. Well, he looked good in the sprint, and then as Danby keeps reminding us, the Aprilia does work phenomenally well in cold conditions.
Spargo won there,
and he did 2 years ago. And the Silverstone track is so different to everything else on the calendar that it normally does throw up a surprise result. That's 11 different winners from the last 11 races there.
It might have, of course. Yeah, you're right. He held it.
It's they were talking about Alex Marquez the whole time, and then Bezzecchi of all people.
Bezz, I know.
After the week they've had with Jorge Martin wanting to leave allegedly, and they come out and win the race.
Now, I was saying this as well. What would Martin be thinking, sitting on his yacht watching that race?
Well, Massimo Rivola came out and he said, "This is a message to Jorge: our bike can win."
Yes,
so.
It's like a bit of an FU, isn't it?
But look for Bezz. Congratulations to him. Like we don't hate on him. We have a bit of a laugh. It's all satire.
Can you explain to the listeners and viewers at home, James, fraud watch? Because we're getting a lot of people don't understand. The true OGs do.
They're all the listeners probably do.
All the listeners do. But just a brief summary of it.
Fraud watch is someone who is not hitting their expectations. That's all it is. So they've shown that they're capable, and they're way under the par. They're way under par.
And that's why Vinales is stuck on there. That's why Chantra isn't on there, because it's always been below par.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is where we're getting a little bit of confusion in the old power rankings, but thank you for your clarification.
And it's also just satire. Like, just because you like the rider, just grow the fuck up and have a laugh. Like, seriously.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's funny. And I like pissing people off.
Now, I want to talk about the crowd. Super disappointing. 99,000 people were there over the weekend. And I think...
Over the weekends?
Over the weekend. 99,000.
Oh, that's Phillip Island crowds.
I heard that there was a darts championship at the local pub that was going on.
Well, Isle of Man's on.
Isle of Man's on, yeah.
Monaco's on.
Yeah, so Isle of Man will take a lot of people.
And I'm telling you, that's why that you put up that post about what's going on, why they're announcing that Silverstone's going to be later in the year, because they're thinking to themselves, well, we've had a shit crowd. We're going to make it later in the year next year.
Well, we can't clash with Isle of Man.
It's ridiculous.
Normally what would happen, but Magello would be before Isle of Man. And then I was surprised with Silverstone.
But I mean, 10,000 less people went to Phillip Island.
I know.
And 480,000 were at the F1s in Silverstone last year. Yeah. So it was at 1/3 of capacity.
Did you see
which is disappointing for the race it had. And
amazing racing. Yeah. Talking about luck, you got to talk about the elephant in the room with no luck.
Yeah.
Quartararo.
Oh.
It was cruel, man, what happened to him.
That vision of him sort of sitting next to, on the wall with his head down.
Classic, that's going to be infamous.
Yeah. I know. That was just incredible, because he did everything right. We've always been talking him up the last GPs on, he's probably been the biggest achiever on what he's been riding and not quite getting there. And here he had the chance to do this, and he was looking that gun down the barrel there, and
it was a race win.
I was sewed up. It was sewn up.
These bloody rear ride height devices or front right, again these problems with these electronics. I mean, it's Oh, just so it's so upsetting.
And he's such an animal. I mean, when he's riding, he's
overriding
up the inside, passing. It was just amazing.
0.3 of a second at qualifying lap better than everyone else. You don't see that this year.
Him, especially in the sprint race that I saw, his late braking was the best I've seen all year.
The braking was phenomenal.
You just couldn't get past him.
Stood still on the straight, and then just broke like an animal. It was just so interesting. It was like he was on a different bike altogether.
He is so talented and.
Well, he was world champion, right?
Yeah, I know, but he should it's just a shame of what's happened with Yamaha, and a shame what happened obviously on the weekend of the rear ride height device, because he deserved that win.
Yeah, 100%.
More than anyone.
Yep.
And there might not be. Well, obviously they're getting their package together.
They are.
And it's slowly.
Well, Miller was up there.
Yeah, because Miller was up there. So
it's more of a Yamaha track, I guess. I ate my words because I said it wasn't last week. And he did get eaten on the straights, but those big, long sweepers of Silverstone, maggots.
He just must absolutely have nailed them in qualifying to be that slow on the straight, but to beat those Ducatis by 3/10. I'd love to see a ghost lap of that, because it would have been incredible to see.
Yeah,
but you still see on a straight there, the Ducati was still pulling away.
It's more the outer corners as well. You just see the horsepower.
Yeah,
it's so different. So. But yeah, there's a lot. If we listen to the silly season rumors, Bagnaia's on a Yamaha.
Yeah.
Quartararo's going to Ducati. Top Rack's going to Pramac. Tech 3 Yamaha. Tech 3
KTM.
Get a KTM. We're going to go to Hondas.
Yeah.
And Miller's on a World Super. I mean, there's just so many things going on. I thought last year was silly season. This looks...
And no one's got a contract that should be even up.
I know.
And Jorge Martin's going to fit into all that.
And he's got a Honda. I mean, it's crazy.
But it's easy to fit all those guys. Well, because there's Mir and all those other riders, which will get dropped.
Marini.
Mir had the hard tyre on at the front. Can you believe that? He went the hard tyre.
Well, he wants to crash.
and then he was up there 7th, and then he put the medium on, and then he finished 10th.
You were 10th. You got to give it 10th. Where did Marini and Mir finish?
They were about 10th and 11th, I think.
It's still not a bad result. Zarco beat Bagnaia in... I'm Mr. Honda, obviously. But Zarco beat Bagnaia fair and square. Who would have thought Zarco on a LCR Honda would beat Bagnaia fair and square in Silverstone? Would any of you said that at the start of this year?
No.
It was never going to happen. And then for Marini and Mir to still be 10th, around 10th, they're doing amazing. Zarco's just the god of Honda. Give him $1 trillion because he's the man.
Yeah, but he's not even on a factory bike, though, is he?
It's factory backed.
But it's not the official factory colours.
You could argue that his weekend in Silverstone was more impressive than Le Mans. Because having a fully dry weekend,
that's a great point.
Having a fully dry weekend compared to a wet race win. I mean, they always say it, Dave. Oh, it's his first dry race win. They always say that. It makes a big difference.
Well, when it's wet, this is where the rider ability comes out, isn't it?
The great equalizer.
For sure.
Like World War II.
100%. Yeah, it's an equalizer.
For sure, but I understand your point completely. Second place in Silverstone, Quartararo crashed, but you've got to finish. Give it to Bezz, give it to Zarco. But on that Honda, beating Bagnaia fair and square and then getting second place on that Honda is...
Beating Marquez
beating Marquez is an immense effort.
Amazing achievement,
I tell you now, give me a win than a second place, no matter how it happened, any day.
For sure. But for Honda's development and everything like that...
Obviously the fairy tale of Le Mans, France, the dad without the tooth. That's the fairy tale.
Now we can buy him one.
But to look at Honda as a whole and go, oh my God, it's Silverstone dry race, they finished second, and he beat Bagnaia in the sprint. You wouldn't have...
And looked quick. He had corner speed. Honda normally turns like the Titanic.
He passed Bagnaia on the outside of cops or something. How's he going? It was so much faster. I'm like, what is going on here? Like the fast right-hander, and he's passing Bagnaia on the outside. I'm like, he had a great pass in the second to last corner as well around the outside. I'm like, man, this guy, he's awesome. He's prime career.
Exactly right.
How old is he?
3,000?
Yeah, he's old.
He's so old.
He's older than you think.
Yeah, he is. But Zarco, what a career. He was, a gun in Moto3, won 2 Moto2 world titles. Then he goes and
how old's Zarco?
He rode KTM, didn't he?
He rode KTM for 3/4 of the season, ditched it, then rode an LCR Honda, funny enough, at Phillip Island Wildcard.
He ditched the KTM, didn't he?
Who did Zarco first go into MotoGP with? Why am I blanking on that?
34 Zarco is.
34, but he looks about 50. He's had a hard 34.
It's, the coffee and the baguettes.
Well, people are yelling at me right now. Gertie, are you able to look up who Zarco's raced for MotoGP? Why am I forgetting this? He's raced for Pramac. He's raced for KTM, LCR Honda.
He's like a journeyman, isn't he? He's just been
Tech 3 Yamaha. He started
3?
on Tech 3 Yamaha. Okay. And his debut, he was like 6 seconds ahead of everyone in Qatar and binned it.
That's right.
Fun fact. Right. But it's just what a story. Like he's a journeyman.
Like
exactly
Colin Edwards was like that.
Yeah.
Made road for quite a few teams, but never quite got there.
But you're 100% right. But when do you see a rider, as you said, almost hit their prime at 34 in their third or fourth team?
I know.
It just doesn't happen.
Journeyman's a great analogy. You put it. He's just always been there, hasn't he? And he's always been impressive. And give him the right tools, he's always been there or thereabouts. I mean, we saw him winning in his first race, in Phillip Island backflip. That was just rock star stuff, wasn't it?
So do you put him on a factory Honda? Has done enough? Done enough over anyone else?
Well, I don't. That's a hard one because he's had a couple of great races, and he's, like we said, he's been there and so on. He's got his age thing going on against him, maybe. But
he's been by far the best Honda rider in the past 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
By far.
By far.
It's him, Daylight, then me.
But then, they're going to put some, in the future, we were talking about there's possibly someone going to Honda.
Oh, Top Rack. Or
Jorge Martin, Pedro Costa.
Exactly. So that it is, do you think Pedro would be looking out somewhere? But I saw somewhere today he was saying that he was down with KTM.
Absolutely not. Complete no way.
No way?
No. He came out and said, what did he say?
I'll stand corrected.
I don't accept KTM. I'm not patient. He came out with.
Yes, I did see that too.
Yeah, he's not happy at all.
There are some really strong reports about Top Rack to Pramac though. Multiple reports.
Not
Dave Shaw.
Not AI. MotoGP Hub Indonesia AI.
Wait till we see what happens there. How old's Top Rack? And he's a great rider, right? How old?
Late 20s or 30 maybe.
Okay. Yeah, but look, it'd be awesome to see a guy coming from Superbikes into GP and doing that. That'd be awesome.
Hasn't happened for a long time.
No. And, Jesus.
So, expect a announcement by Mugello, they're saying.
Well, who are they getting rid of? Morbidelli or Miller?
Oh, who knows?
Morbidelli.
Yeah. No. Not Morbidelli. Oliveira. Sorry.
Yeah, Oliveira. Or no, because I think there's got to be some sort of... This Miller rumours with Superbikes has to... that probably has to work if they're going to do a swap, I suppose.
You're going to have Miller over Oliveira. He's a proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. He's Oliveira. Is he fit?
And he's doing Suzuka 8-hour for Yamaha.
Oh, they both are? Oh, Miller is.
Miller is.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. I like that as well.
Really cool. That's a good event to go to.
Those guys are lucky that
you been there, Dave?
No, those guys are lucky they haven't got that Flavio from Formula One.
They're all
being the teammate because he gives them like 5 goes. And if they haven't performed, they're out.
Have you been Suzuka?
No, I haven't.
Okay. That might be on the cards.
I've had a couple of friends have been there and said, look, it's just like 40 degrees, super hot, but an incredible event. Because the Japanese do it so well.
Yeah. They do. This is going to be super autistic of myself, but they've got the best merch there. The Japanese Yamaha, Honda merch, the best time.
They used to have they hit the coolest teams, like the Japanese, these local teams which were
local sponsors
and that they were fantastic.
And they're big, we're going on a tangent. Like big endurance tanks and the big pipes.
Yeah.
They're the best looking race bikes just about out there, I reckon.
Yeah, they had some great local sponsors.
Shout out to Damo Cullen.
Surprised they ran aero in the race because there was talk that we're not going to do that.
And it was windy.
Very windy, 52-kilometre wind.
And Aprilia had an all-new aero on the rear of the bike and near the boots of the rider's feet and all this other stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy.
Because we were just saying the Yamaha looks like a Formula One wing, doesn't it?
It does. I mean,
it's like off a McLaren or something.
I'd love to know the downforce figures of these current bikes to like Casey Stoner's 07 Ducati or something.
Well, you know the times of Moto2 is Manu Gonzalez is just as quick as Casey Stoner on a 2011 Honda Repsol. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. It is wild.
Yeah.
It is wild. Those Moto2 bikes are just breaking every lap record that they go to. Well, same with the MotoGP
Probably
bikes.
tyres helps as well.
Yeah.
And there's no aero on those.
Well, that's true. There's not. It's all one engine and 2 different chassis. So
Look, the whole aero question is it divides people's opinions for sure. But I mean, one thing with Formula One and MotoGP, it's about pushing the boundaries of what the rules are.
Yeah.
And making it work best you can.
Well, they're prototypes, aren't they?
Yeah, prototypes for what's going to work. And
but that's where Superbikes, I think, has to be that stock, category where these fans of these, normal looking motorcycles you can go out and buy on a Monday has to be. That's where that competition has to go, and then MotoGP has to be that wild aero prototype category. Otherwise, it's...
Well, I'll put out the analogy is with when people ask me about, what's the difference between a Superbike and a MotoGP bike and so on, and because they're usually from car guys, right? I'll say, well, a MotoGP bike's the Formula One, and a V8 supercar is the Superbike.
That's a good
That's a good analogy. That's not bad. I don't mind that.
So that's about how, because they're like based on a production type vehicle, which a Superbike is, and a Formula One is a hand-built thoroughbred, which is what a MotoGP bike is.
Yeah.
And the technology will then filter down through the...
Yeah, the amazing thing is with motorsport is you can have, 10 different bikes or 10 different cars on the grid, and they are all within a second of each other. They get these regulations for MotoGP and Formula One. They all have to... Formula One, for instance, they share two things, the tyres and a rain light at the back. Everything else is their own. They build it all their own thing. And they're within hundreds of tenths of each other. I mean, that's the most wild thing about motorsport over the years, isn't it? It's just crazy.
On how close they look in design-wise.
No, well, how close? How close they are in the lap times.
Yeah.
Because they're so different in design-wise.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like two different riding styles or driving styles. You can put on two different bikes or even the same bike, but they could ride completely different ways and then still be like Lorenzo and Casey Stoner.
Yeah.
They could do the exact same lap time, and then Lorenzo's on rails, and Casey Stoner's sliding everywhere.
Well, I looked at go and have a look at Quadraro's pole lap. He's climbing all over that bike.
I know, it's amazing.
It's amazing. His body's moving everywhere and
overriding.
Oh, it's crazy.
Well, speaking of that thing with Lorenzo when he was riding Ducati, and he had that complaint with them that he didn't like the fuel tank, and Ducati said, "No, we're not going to change it. We're not going to change it." And he wasn't pulling any good results. They finally changed it, and he started winning.
Yeah, Mugello.
You were there. I was there.
We were there. And I was at your house.
Oh, were you?
In Sydney, where we watched it. Because I had to move in because James couldn't be by himself. So I had to babysit.
Yeah, we bred him tough.
Yeah. And I remember that. And he came out and won the race.
He won the race, But it's because they changed that, because they built up around the rider for their style, their height. Everything is, designed for the rider to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to...
Well, it's you brought up the other week how Bagnaia doesn't like the fuel tank on the sprint bike.
Yes, it's a different tank.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't help him either. The last 2 weekends, just, geez.
Same with KTM, 4 different bikes, and then they're copying Vinales.
Yeah, look, let's talk about KTM. You got the Japanese back, you got Aprilia winning, and them still pretty much last on the grid.
Is KTM the worst bike in the grid right now?
Has to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is. Because they're just... Okay, Pedro got 6, just out of, I think, sheer talent. People crashing in front of him. But, and Vinales is up, he's Vinales. He's going to pull some results, and then he's going to have some stinkers.
Second in Qatar before the penalty, and then 5th the following weekend.
Yeah.
And what about Binder? Brad Binder was like golden hope at one stage.
Yeah, you brought up that yesterday. I mean, you just forget about him, don't you? Because all we think about is Acosta.
But he was remember that he was the one who went out and won in the wet that time, and he was their
boy.
To me, he was KTM's number one
100%.
guy,
and he dominated coming through junior category.
So he's just now floating down the rears, and he must be getting really pissed off.
But no one even talks about him.
No, he gets nothing.
I mean, the good news, it looks like that we've had an investor come into KTM, Bajaj. I mean, even their logo was already on the bike.
Oh, was it?
It was in the front thing.
The most expensive sticker of all time.
Yeah, great call.
So it looks like they've bailed them out. Curtis, could you just have a quick look for us where they're from? I'm assuming India. And Bajaj, they've just bought out a portion of KTM. Just have a look at that while we chat amongst ourselves.
I think it was, what was the tune of the...
600 mil?
600 million?
Euro.
Yeah. So it's
600 euro.
I think it's helped them pay some of the debts that they...
Because they're in the hole for 240.
Like 2 billion or something, isn't it?
4 billion, I think.
So how long's 600 mil going to last?
Well, I suppose it's a quarter of it, isn't it?
Jesus, Like,
but the thing is with them, they need the brand to be fashionable again. Because that's the problem at the moment. They've got 2 bill in the hole, but they also have to get people to go and buy their product. And people aren't going to go and buy a product if they go on the website and go, or they go on the news and the KTM are fludging. Yeah. It's like, would you go on Peter Stevens' website right now and buy something? No, you wouldn't, because you don't know what's going on.
No, 100%.
So it's the same sort of thing. I wouldn't go and buy KTM now because I don't know if there's going to be parts for it in 3 years' time.
True.
Who knows?
Well, I don't know about KTM. It's had such a good name, but
of course it is. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, with these racing teams, everything. What are they there for? They're there to sell motorcycles and product. If you don't do that, you're not getting cash in to support this team.
And it's got to be a hot product as well.
Yeah, and it's good. Yeah.
Speak really loudly, Cody.
Their headquarters are in Pune, Maharashtra. It's
India.
Yeah.
Bajaj, India.
Well, it's
Well, that's where the money is.
Good to get a couple of bob out of them, I suppose. That's a good thing.
Gotcha.
And what about CF Moto that had some interest in them as well?
I think they own a portion of them or something like that.
Where's that connection?
They helped, I think, develop their engines for some of the lower CC bikes.
Gotcha.
And they were making some of the product in India as well. KTM, the smaller capacity.
Yeah,
KTMs,
definitely. Definitely, because you can open, as you say,
Yes.
you can when you're building a Duke 390 or something in.
That's what they said. Come on, boys, smell this. And they opened up the packet of bolts, and it was a Rogan Josh.
It's amazing how that smell just stays.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you know what? CF Moto as a brand I think is a brand that will take off
It's climbing hard.
because
Massively.
we don't like. Everyone's against non-European brands or American brands, but everyone goes, "Oh, yeah, they're pretty cool." Like that's half the battle.
It's like that guy
The
we
young
saw.
kids like them.
Yeah.
The salesman we saw at CF Moto the other day, and he said exactly the thing, because I said to him, "Oh, how are they going?"
Yeah.
He said, "Well, the young kids don't
shout out
care
to
about the Honda Kawasaki's or whatever. They just see this thing with a TFT dash. It's got wings on it.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
And it's a good price. That's what they're looking for. It's
amazing.
It's the new generation
It's a new
coming
gen.
through.
We're going. So that's the new brand. I mean, same with cars, with Chinese cars. You never think. I mean, after COVID, people would go out in their droves and buy Chinese cars. They're the best-selling cars now.
Yeah, LDV and whatever.
MG and Haval and all these
Yeah.
brands. I mean, it's a different world now. So
Well, I was going to say, when Dainese was bought out by the American hedge fund in 2021, I think it was, they opened up some shops in China, and it started becoming their massive sellers for gear.
Yeah.
And China did not care about what Dainese was. It was just because it looked cool.
Yeah, it's 100% standard.
Yes,
Doesn't
that's
matter
right.
about
It's
what
about
it
how
is.
it looks. Yeah.
it's fashion.
Going back to KTM, getting back on track. Pedro Acosta, is he going to stay or is he leaving? Because I am 95% sure, and that's me being on the safe side, saying he's leaving.
Okay, 26th of May, 2025, James. This is today's date.
Yeah.
Where's he going? Where is he going to be next year?
Bro, I don't know. But if I had to put any type of bet on it, I'm going to say Honda is going to throw him a bucket's load of money.
So he'll be on a factory Honda next year.
Yeah. And then let me ask you this question. That was my first part. The second part is: would you rather have Jorge Martin or Pedro Acosta on that
On
Honda?
a Honda.
There's a question for you.
That's a dilemma, isn't it? It's,
The problem with Martin is, for me, is mentally, like, he's really shocked me with these news with Aprilia. Like, he hasn't even tried on the bike.
I think if I was Aprilia, I'd be so pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, you invested all that time, money, energy, and getting the number one plate on your bike,
100%.
and they would have been, taking this to the town.
Yeah.
Well, they're obviously
And,
pissed off because what Revola's
yes.
saying, what's
And
a lot of people saying what he's saying or what he's not saying is probably the biggest thing.
But he's pulling out a technicality, really, which isn't fair because he hasn't even ridden a bike. He just because that technicality was that by the French Grand Prix, if he wasn't in a winning type of position, he had the opportunity to pull the plug.
Yeah.
So who would you rather? Okay, I'll say my answer first. I would rather have Pedro Acosta.
Oh, I think I'd still go for the world champion, Martin.
Okay.
Proven.
Yeah.
Proven. Acosta for me is obviously he's got immense talent, but I don't know. You got to go for the world champion. Are you paying him the same amount of money? You probably have to pay Martin more, I'd say.
Yeah, of course you would.
Yeah, he's proven for sure.
But he's not going to be taking a number one plate to you the next year.
But I think either of them at the moment are just wanting to win.
Why not both?
Why not both?
Why not both?
Are they both out of contract? Marini, I don't think Mir is. I think it's just Marini.
But if Tech 3 go to Hondas, you've got two more Hondas on the grid.
Now we're talking.
You said some of those, like the minions, the Marinis and the Mirs of the world, down to that team.
Poor Zarco as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got it's the world's your oyster. I suppose.
My factory team,
Bastianini and Vinales might be on Hondas next year.
Don't even.
Don't even. I can't see Bagnara going. I mean,
okay, hang on. Let's keep on track. For me, my team would be Zarco and Acosta. If I could just reshuffle everything right now, that's the two
on factory Honda.
On two factory Honda bikes.
Yeah.
With Motorsport Republica full sponsorship.
New logo. New logo.
Yellow and black Honda. But that's what I would get. Well, if you had to pick two riders that
to go onto a Honda.
Yeah.
I think Pedro's a good one because he's a young up and comer. He's like 19.
Just turned 20.
Just turned 20. He's on the gas. He's hungry as hell. He wants to win. I think if you get some longevity out of him. Martin, I don't know. He's really sort of burnt me.
Yeah, he's burned me a little bit as well. And I just
say Acosta's older than 20.
20.
Is he only 20 years old?
Yeah. And Zarco, I think Zarco, you need someone on there that's already fast on that Honda that's helped developing that bike, and he is. And I think that's why he needs to be on a factory bike.
I mean, that's been half the problem with Aprilia this year. They've had 3 new riders on the bike.
Yeah.
So no one from last year, who can really work for a long... Like, how have they not kept Aleix Espargaro as a reserve?
Bro, this is what doesn't make sense, and we've spoken about this. He goes to Honda after saying, I can't even sip my water bottle now because I got to go on a rant. He goes to Honda after saying Aprilia is his family thing. Gets his best mate. It's like me getting you to work together. And he's like, nah, I'm fucking off going to Aprilia, to Honda.
And trying to bring him over.
And now he's weirdly trying to bring him over. He's saying he's not trying to bring him over, but none of it makes any sense.
Hey, they're mates. They're talking.
Of course they're talking.
They're best mates.
Best mates.
They used to tow each other in qualifying on different teams and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely happening. 100%.
We're to smoke this fire, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would Aprilia let Aleix leave? Unless he wanted a new challenge. Yeah. But why would you leave your best mate if he's coming over? Because you're directly helping him.
You want to help him.
But Aleix, he was retiring. Though. He was retiring from
GP. But what we're saying is Honda have gone, we're going to pay you $500,000 a year, Aleix, to be our test rider. Why wouldn't Aprilia go, we'll batch you come and stay with us. You help Jorge, and we make this team amazing.
Yeah, and you've already developed the bike. You know it inside and out.
Know it inside out. You're a race winner on the bike.
Yeah, but we don't know what's been going on behind the scenes between those two, in personality-wise, whatever. There could have been some friction going on.
But not between
Aleix and Aprilia, I'm talking.
No, because he's talking about how much it's a family team, and you kind of right. I get what you're saying, but then why would he drag Jorge Martin's best mate there?
Because it's back to Honda.
No, it's Aprilia.
Oh well, because I think there's a few things there that Martin was pissed with Ducati because he didn't get that factory offer, right? Then Aprilia's come and made noises to him. He said, well, these guys have got egos, right? They believe they're the best in the world. I'm going to go and take that one plate to Aprilia and do stuff with them.
Yeah, 100%.
So, there's a few things going on there. But now that maybe things haven't worked out, he doesn't see what is going to be happening.
He's done 14 fucking laps on the bike, though.
Yeah.
And 2/3 of a Grand Prix.
I'm with you on that.
That's crazy.
I get that. Yeah. And that's why I'm pissed with him about what he's done, because I think, I'm a bit old school. You had to make a handshake agreement on something. At least follow it through and give it and try.
But the contracts just mean nothing these days.
They mean zero.
No, they don't. It's because
not like back in your day, the Victorian Championship. I mean, you were locked in then.
I was totally locked in. That was like a lawyers. I had 15 lawyers on that, but I couldn't break that even if I tried.
Different world now.
And with the Video Easy sponsorship.
Yeah. So, allegedly.
I've seen photos. I'll back it up.
Oh yeah, on the bike.
Yeah, it's on the bike. like,
actually, you get a free pass?
I was out to dinner last night with Nick, who was one of the owners of Video Easy, and
did he want his money back?
Yeah, well, he did want his money back.
Does he have to pay for dinner?
That's right, plus interest. So I think I owe him a lot of money, but.
For anyone at home who doesn't know, Dave was a avid Superbike rider back. That's why his nickname Superbike Shaw.
Yeah.
And was the 1987 Victorian champion.
And 88.
Back to back, baby.
Back to back. Didn't know he won it until after post-race. He won
that was
championship.
the first one. The second year I was geared up for it.
So we've got some credentials on the pod. So.
He's even got photos of him passing on with grid girls.
Okay, well,
after the race.
Talking. Well, now it's worth it.
Well, they identified as grid girls.
Love it. I mean, we could go on about Aprilia and Jorge Martin till we are.
Give me an answer though. Who's your two, within reason? Don't just pick any name. Your factory Honda guys you would have on that bike next year.
Well, I said both of them. I want both on there. I want a Martina and I want a Costa on there.
Okay.
You know, like Mears should be up there with Zarco if he's anywhere. You know, at the moment.
And he's the next world champion for crying out
loud.
Asterisk. I know it's an asterisk, but still, he's a world champion.
100% agree.
They should both be, if they're not finishing just behind
it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. They're 10th and 11th behind, and Zarco's... So, have they really got it? Maybe not. You know, are they just the journeyman we spoke about?
I think that, as hard as it sounds, those guys have got to go, and they've got to make room for the Acostas and stuff like that. I think
for the kids
that will take them further.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's hard.
That's harsh.
It's harsh.
It's harsh.
Because Mears only 25, isn't
Bro,
he?
Marini's just a bee's dick in MotoGP as well.
But how long's he been riding for in this class?
Me?
2020 World Championship. He's got to be at least 25, 26.
No, but how long's Marini had a crack at MotoGP?
Like 5 years.
Yeah,
let's
well,
say.
there you go.
Yeah. 5
years.
Yeah, 5 years, I guess. 2
like,
years. 2 years on Ducati, then it's his second year on Honda.
It's a tough game. I'm scratching because I damaged my leg.
Oh, that's right.
So it's
your left leg.
I'm not doing anything untoward.
That's fine. It's I don't know. That's my dream team for Honda, but I think it's going to be exciting for next year, isn't it?
Remember when we were talking, Tom, get the marks out, but we were talking at the start of the season like, oh, we've got to talk about racing. It's going to be interesting this year, not talking about silly season. And I feel like we're all only talking about silly season, and there's like no contracts up.
Yeah,
and we've still got plenty of races to go.
I know.
There's only 7 races in.
And that's
7
right.
races in.
And anything can happen.
Races.
Someone can injure themselves. Whatever.
Yeah.
So it can change the whole ball game.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Alex... Now, we've got to stay neutral here at Motorsport Republica, of course. But when I saw Alex down and then Marc Marquez hitting the lead, I think, 45 points ahead in the championship, it's going to be done pretty soon. He goes down. Sort of the championship didn't change too much after that onto the next weekend. But if he stayed on that bike, Marc Marquez, and was 45 points up...
Sayonara.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. So... probably lucky how it all turned out for us as neutral fans. We're going to be heading to a couple of Grand Prix later in the year. We want the championship to be still up and running in Phillip Island and Malaysia. So, it's... But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about between now and then, don't we?
We've got a lot. What I want to talk about is VR46, man. They're the biggest yo-yos in this paddock. Digi is up there, he's not up there. Morbidelli is up there, then he's not up there. Like, it just... I don't get it.
Digi was having a crack, right? And
he was, and then he was nowhere in the main race.
You think, James, you're pretty quick to talk about this because I think they've been quite consistent all year.
Morbidelli hasn't.
Coming up to Le Mans last week, and obviously it's such a different track with the rain and everything. And then this week we've got a cold track, not suiting Ducati. I think it's just been 2 weekends that have been off the pace, but other than that, I think they've been pretty consistent.
Morbidelli was nowhere in Jerez. I don't think he scored a point. Digi, I'll give him because he took out Jack Miller.
Yeah.
I'll give him the benefit because he's on a GP25, which is arguably a worse bike, and he started injured.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely right about Jerez MotoGP. That was Morbidelli was off the pace.
Morbidelli was quick in Thailand. I can't remember Argentina, and he was quick in Qatar, I'm pretty sure. But there's been a couple races there. There's been 3 races there. If there's been 6, 3 of them have been bad. And that's yo-yo status for me.
So Qatar, Morbidelli finished 3rd. Great race for him.
Yeah.
And then
third asterisk because of Vinales.
Vinales asterisk.
That's fourth is still good.
Crashed. And then he crashed it in Spain.
Yeah.
And then obviously the last 2 weekends. But yeah, I mean, I was really surprised by Digia through. He looked good in the sprint and then was absolutely nowhere in the main race.
I
think this medium tyre just didn't work on the Ducati, and some like Marquez just hammered it to the line, and some were too scared to ride it like a Bagnaia or a Quarter or a Digia.
They if they're more I just don't know. I'm just not sold. I'm just not sold on their consistency. That's all it is. I think they both seem like they've got pace. They obviously got pace. They've both podium this year, but they're just not consistent. That's just all it is.
I think
we'll
in 2 weeks' time we'll have Aragon. It'll be 35-degree temperatures, and you'll see Ducati 1 to 6th. That's going to be me.
Is Marquez just going to obliterate everyone there?
He's gonna be 0.8 of a second faster in that left-hander in the back.
He obliterated everyone on that.
Is that called Marquez corner yet? That corner? It should be.
Yeah, Saxon Ring. They should just change Saxon Ring to Deutsch Markland.
Well, yeah. I mean, that'll be a big turnaround for him when we get there to Germany, because that's where the whole, he had those 4 crashes on that weekend and was done with Honda.
Bro, do you see Bagnaia did a similar thing?
Yeah.
He was shaking his fist at the dash.
Oh, no, he went to his knees. That's another classic photo.
Fell to his knees at the supermarket.
He looked distraught in the pits. He looked distraught.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall when what's going on in there.
Yeah, too much pressure from the sisters and the misses. Both there crying on the thing.
And both look the same.
Have you ever seen the shots of them when he was racing last year?
Yeah.
And they had the cameras on his then fiance and sister, and they were just
freaking.
They're freaking.
Yeah, no, it's too much.
It's unreal.
Yeah, I know.
It's actually interesting. They're freaking, and then you got the Marquez misses. We're on Wag Watch. We'll call this Wag Watch.
Yeah.
And they're pretty stone cold.
Yes.
Until Alex Marquez was about to win, then she was blubbering.
Yeah, true. She was.
Yeah, that's true.
That's Wag. That's Motorsport Republica Wag Watch right there. So if you got any inclusions, messages,
I'm sure we'll have some interest in that from both the ladies. And
we'll copyright that Motorsport Republic. Everyone, Wag Watch,
and we'll do a fashions on parade later. What they're wearing, or who they're wearing.
Oh, it's funny. Like, talking about that though, how big that is in the sport, wags and everything. Like Formula One, it's huge.
It's massive.
Kim Illman, a photographer that we follow on YouTube, puts a video about wags and not the drivers. He gets more views.
That's wild.
More views. I mean, it's just huge now.
Yeah, it's classic to be seen at these events, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes, that's
Actually, no, I'm going to save that for Formula One. I'm not going to cross codes yet because I do have a little T-Shav tidbit on that.
Oh, okay, beautiful. I like that.
Well,
Lando, just on the wags, he's actually got a girlfriend, which I was very surprised with. I thought it was going to be the first gay current Formula One driver that was happening, but it's obviously not.
Yeah, true.
Just say it, James.
I'll bite my tongue. But when they crossed the Lando when he won, and they went into that little McLaren box,
yes,
bro, it was autistic central in there. Did you see everyone clapping? They couldn't clap properly. Everyone was cross-eyed.
Oh, yes.
They were dribbling. Remember, you noticed that as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Bro, I went to bed straight away.
Bro, it was autistic central.
You know what it looked like? It looked like that new Jaguar ad.
A little bit. It looked like the McLaren box in Silverstone or whatever. It looked like
I'll
that.
have to rewatch it.
I'm disappointed in
That's
see
on
that.
our alternative autistic watch podcast.
Hope we're not offending anyone.
No, probably are.
No, we all are. We're autistic anyway.
Yeah,
we're ultra fans. If you're an ultra fan of something, it means you got autism.
Yes,
that's what I've decided. That's
D Shaw Ducatis.
Yeah, exactly. Having your whole bloody
asphyxiated.
Yeah. That's current. That's it. It's hyperfixation on something.
It's Curdy of hentai. Same thing.
Yeah. Japanese literature.
Yes.
He's hearing it, but he's saving the response for later. So.
You'll get a message at 1:59 a.m. I didn't appreciate that, man.
Pixelated.
And we have to do a podcast in the Ducati cave up at my place too. Remember?
It's Ducati / Suzuki RM at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's exactly.
You're gonna have a Suzuki corner now. It's got a yellow,
I've got a motocross.
He's got 5. How many vintage dirt bikes you got now?
5 RMs.
Fucking hell.
And all vintage.
Where'd that come from?
I know.
It's just I've been doing a bit of restos on the over this winter, and
Goodness.
I gave him a good tidbit on where to find these bikes.
On Marketplace?
I'm not going to say that. I'm not because then you'll lose where.
That's
to find
right. I need to get stock. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, buy us one, can you, please? Uncle Dave.
Uncle Dave.
Nothing comes for nothing.
That's it.
That's all I got on MotoGP, fellas.
Yeah, me too. I think there's just so much to talk about. It was the most amazing race. I mean, we've had the 2 most amazing weekends, haven't we? The last 2 weekends for MotoGP, and for completely different reasons.
Yep. 2 crazy different results, and 2 weekends in a row where Ducati haven't won.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? They were about to go for this record and they haven't won the last 2 races.
It's been a great mix of manufacturers up there. So that's always good to see.
First time since 21, Ducati hasn't won 2 races. Like, they've lost 2 races in a row. And it's wild. So
then 2 completely different races, as you said, which is great to see.
Yep.
Good to see the Japanese boys up there make Honda great again, obviously doing their thing.
Yeah.
Quartararo's going to get his win.
And don't forget, Isle of Man starts. We've got practice week, then race week. It's wet over there at the moment, so it's really throwing a cat amongst the pigeons.
Do they run wet tyres?
They don't run in the wet.
No, they'll do, but if it gets too bad, they'll, like with mist and fog up the top of the mountain,
smelling the garlic,
they'll close it down and so on. But
so they run they don't run a slick.
No, they'll run slicks in dry,
Yeah, okay.
But obviously in the wet, you're going to have to run wet.
Oh, they do have wet tyres. Okay, yeah.
But obviously time's a lot slower. But it's looking wet there anyway at the moment, which is a bit of a bummer.
Petition to run Moto 2 at the start of every weekend.
I know. What? Where do you even start? Was Moto 2, that was the greatest Moto 2 race I've ever seen.
And like the greatest finish.
An Australian finish.
And Australian, congratulations to Senna Aegis.
Oh, boy.
And all that was going through my brain
Pod
all the
favourite.
time was through goes Aegis instead of because it was the same corner as Hamilton that's famous a few years ago. Through goes Aegis. And he was just he would have passed 15 to 20 times on that, even probably more.
In that race. Him and David Alonso.
And just an amazing, amazing Grand Prix to watch. And congratulations. I mean, what else do you say?
I don't know. And I love the shoey on the podium. He swears in the interview.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He wears the Aussie flag. I loved how he had the Aussie flag draped around him. I literally just spoke to Adrian 2 podcasts ago. I don't know if you guys picked it up. We're talking about like no rider has the flag out and he's got the flag. So great to see. And like what a race, just swoops on it and gets it in the last corner and wins it. But he was always there or thereabouts, and like he's going up against David Alonso, who we'll speak about. We've had a breakout race, and bro, Diego Moreira, him and Aegis have had the biggest rivalry at the moment.
They have. It was a bit cold on the podium watching them 2, but for me it was Canet leading out, Alonso came through, and there was them 2, and then Senna just closed the gap.
Didn't he?
Like he just closed the gap within half a lap. I said he's got the pace.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see him making that move in the last corner, but he did it. And like you think of David Alonso, last lap specialist.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when's he been beaten on the last lap in that position?
And such high pressure, those.
Oh,
Jesus.
Aaron Canet's surprise move, chucking it up the inside, which is very un-him like. He would just normally just forfeit the win and let the second place pass.
Yeah.
But you couldn't have had a better result. I mean, it was great to see Alonso on the podium as well. I think that's just sent through a warning to the rest of the grid, hasn't it? So,
yeah. Breakout race. Is he going to be more consistent?
I think so. Yeah.
He loves Silverstones, where he first won his race.
But it's confidence, isn't it? It's just confidence.
Well, his interview afterwards was I really liked David Alonso because he's so raw, and Senna's the same.
Yeah.
They're both really raw. They're actually quite similar. But David's like, I had no confidence in myself. The team had all the confidence in me. I want to thank them.
Yeah. So humble. He's so humble.
Bro, he's so humble. And to admit that, as like a young kid, he's like 16, 17 or whatever, to come out and admit that, and, he's obviously come off injuries and everything. It's just, it was always going to happen. I never not had faith that he wasn't going to podium. But, it's just awesome to see David Alonso up there, and hopefully he can do more. But congratulations to Senna, our boy.
Yeah.
Pod favorite.
Move over Spanish. The South Americans are coming through.
I know, right?
It's they're almost all more aggressive than the Spanish.
Where's all that coming from?
Oh, it's amazing. Alonso and Moreira and
no Europeans on that podium.
I know that's rare.
Bro, when was the last time that happened?
It's all usually full of Spaniards, right?
Exactly right. And I mean, what else you say? It was what really surprised me is Senna is only 19 years old. We can't forget about this. Him and Alonso the same age.
Yeah.
Like, you think Alonso's this young kid and Senna's this old wiser.
Nah, David Alonso's, you'll be younger than that.
How old's David Alonso?
He's like 17.
Curtis? David Alonso age, please. But you forget he's 19 years old. Yeah. I mean, he's got the head on his shoulder. He's shown some unbelievable. Imagine if Gonzalez stayed on the bike.
He was quick.
He was very quick. That would add another dynamic to that race as well.
He was probably the fastest, if anything. He had that bike working, and then just got too impatient.
You know what it was like with Moto 2? It was like watching a Tour de France peloton, because they were just staying in. They were just staying in the slipstream the whole time, and then you had the peloton at the back trying to chase up the main group, and they almost got there by the end.
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost you wanted to be in that. You had to be.
It's
in that
right. Often in those situations, like at Moto 3, the guy in front is the one who usually comes fifth. Because everyone just overruns.
It ended up being that because Canet finished fourth.
Jeez,
But Corvara was up there. He had a bit of a breakout ride. He
did.
He was leading the race for a bit.
And then,
Gertie?
19 years old.
Yeah.
David Alonso's 19.
Yep.
Born in 2006.
Yeah. James should never fact-check me, Curtis, but I had to get my point through. So they're both 19 years old. You don't think that.
He's probably been racing.
He's older than I thought.
But he's been racing probably since he's 6.
But I think you have to be 18 now to race Moto 3. I think that's the... or you have to get a special...
Yeah, but they'll have it. Would have been racing motocross, stuff like that at a young age, then into the development stuff.
So, you got to... Like, those two are the same age, and we think of Alonso being this young kid, and then you think of Senna as being this sort of, I don't know, 23, 24-year-old, but they're the same age. So, Senna has the world on his shoulders. So, it's super exciting. James is shocked. Look at him. He's shocked.
No, I'm shocked at this. Place of birth, David Alonso.
Spain.
Madrid, Spain.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, but then they got him straight back to... was he wrong? Colombia?
Yeah. Medellin. That shocked me.
But yeah, crazy race and very, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, great.
I think I was knocking down a carafe of wine at that stage. Unfortunately, I missed that, ladies and gentlemen. I know. I was back just to get it back for the MotoGP. But
we'll forgive you. You had people to see. People wanted to see you. So, and Moto 3, Jimmy boy?
Yeah, man. Rueda.
Coming from last on the grid.
Marquez
called it in the cool-down room.
Couldn't believe it. Oh, I can believe that from Marquez. He's going to get that right as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, again, we don't have to go too much deep into it, but Moto 3, again, was just an amazing race. There's 15 people fighting for the lead at one
classic
stage.
Classic Moto 3, classic 125 style.
Yeah.
You see them coming down the line, they just spread out like this.
They fan out.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And,
Silverstone's just, and it's so wide, like they can go 10 bikes abreast into it. So flowy, it just works for Moto 3. Rueda is just amazing. Maximi Quiles, whatever his name is, he probably should have almost won that, and it's like his 4th race. Like, that dude is going to be an absolute star. Spewing for Kelso, crashed out of the lead.
It hurts the championship for him as well, because he's probably been, I would say, one of the more consistent riders through the year. And he's I think that's his 2nd crash now, so that hurts hard, but hopefully he can bounce back in Aragon in a couple of weeks.
Jacob was in the front group for quite a bit, dropped a bit at the end, but Rueda, man, just what a ride. Him and Quiles just seem to be so quick, but Rueda from the back of the grid, it's pretty special. Like, only the best of the best do that.
Well, we talk about Marquez doing it, and even Marquez on that cooldown room chat, he was saying, look, half the bikes crashed when I did it. Yeah. And this kid came through and won. Yeah. And from the back of the grid, you just got to get to that front pack, don't you? And then you're right.
He did it. He got into the front pack within 5 laps. It's only a 17-lap race because it's a 50-kilometer lap.
2 minute. What is it? A 2 minute 30 lap or something?
Something like that's huge, man.
That's a big lap, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like Coda. Coda's similar. It's a long lap. I mean, and as we spoke about a few pods ago when Coda was running, I bet you they'll never have a perfect lap around that. It's such a long lap. And you got 2.5 minute lap. I mean, there's bound to be time to be made anywhere.
Sure. For that Quiles.
James Shaw.
that Quiles kid under the Marquez tutelage is going to be a star, I reckon.
Yep.
He's just so fast already. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, MotoGP in 5 years is going to be a very interesting...
It's going to be so different again.
Yeah, and we're going to have a lot of these different young kids come through.
A lot more Spanish, I think. Spanish.
Yeah, the Italians.
We had a wave of Italians.
Yeah.
But I want to see more manufacturers involved too. You know, maybe the CF Moto coming into a MotoGP.
Yeah, I mean, BMW
in the future,
would be cool.
I'm talking BMW would be awesome.
Yeah, I think they'd get a lot. I reckon they'd get a lot out of that program as well. For me, it's
Kawasaki, Suzuki. I think they should be there.
Yeah, I mean, new regs coming out as well. It's a chance to nail the regs. I mean, but yeah, it's an interesting time. Like we talked about post-COVID. We were talking about this last week, Dave, in the endurance series in WEC, with the 24-hour Le Mans. There is seriously 20 different manufacturers in that higher class. It would be a very expensive project.
Yeah.
And they've just piled all this money into motorsport, which 10 years ago, there was like 2 manufacturers in there. So it's interesting to see if in the bike game, if they'll do this. But, I mean, have to look at KTM. I mean, so volatile, isn't it?
You can go wrong so quickly.
But look what they did, KTM. Remember they had that run when they had a Husqvarna in there?
Yeah.
That gas.
Well, still CF Moto.
Yeah.
They won a bloody world title. That's a KTM, and they partly own it. So yeah, you're right.
But I remember saying to James, why is Husqvarna branded across these Moto 3 bikes when they don't really do it?
Same with Gas. I had a Gas MotoGP bike.
But it was weird. Every second week it was, KTM have bought MV Agusta. KTM have bought this. I'm like, whoa, just, slow down.
They're doing a Peter Stevens.
Yeah, and they went, and then that's what happens with business.
As good as I love MV Agusta motorcycles, but...
Would you buy one, David?
I would. Look, I'd buy one because I just like the look of them.
Probably not the right person to ask.
Curdy wants one.
You'd art piece in the fucking garage.
It'd be an art piece in the garage.
Because they are an art piece. I've had, mates of mine have had those F4s.
Yeah.
And they're gorgeous things, Tamburini designed, and
well, Hamilton rocked up in one.
But the thing is, they're a poison chalice if you were going to bring them in. So I remember MV Agusta they had in Parramatta, Sydney, and I went there. It was a big kick-ass store and everything like that. And I'm always thinking, hang on, you only probably sell 50 bikes a year.
Yeah.
How are you going to sustain this? And of course, it didn't. They ended up.
It's the Alfa Romeo of the bike world.
Yeah, you're probably a good call there, actually.
Yeah, and Alfa Romeo is the same situation in cars. They want their own big dealerships, but they sell 10 cars a month.
But they're beautiful cars, though, aren't they? I love the Alphas.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They just don't have Jeremy Clarkson talking about it every week on Top Gear.
Yeah.
Speaking of Top Gear, Richard Hammond on the grid was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool to see. That was a really good interview.
You know what?
I didn't see that.
MotoGP need... Yeah, you were bloody
I was on the wine at that stage.
Yeah. I'm surprised you remember the race. But they need stars on the grid as much in Formula One as we hate, these pop stars and stuff. They have no idea about the sport. I think it still brings new eyes to the sport.
For sure.
And it's a talking point. And I don't know if they've invited him or he bought his own way there or how it worked. But to have that, I think is important. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely important. It's only just going to, as you said, just put eyes onto the sport.
Yeah,
it's just dumb when you speak to someone and they clearly have zero idea. But they're allowed to also be there and have no idea either.
Course,
who's anyone to tell them that they're not?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Formula. What Formula One's done is they've opened that whole thing up now to everyone. Where the motorcycle racing, it was always been. I think you've touched on this before. It's always been for the hardcore.
Which
fans.
I like that though.
Yeah, that's good. But you need to have, if it's to grow, you need more eyes on it, and you need to make it more accessible. You need to make it,
Don't say it.
you just need to make it more, accessible.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. You look at Monaco. There was 748. You can berth 748 boats into that harbour, and I don't think it doesn't matter how much money you have. There's like a 5-year waiting list or something to get into that harbour. Yeah. There's another 400 boats that can't get into the harbour that are out in the ocean. I mean, the amount of money that Jeff Bezos is sitting there watching the race. You got all these sports stars, and they're just such
because
they
all want to be seen.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
like exactly. But imagine how much money that country would make off that race. How much money they're taking.
Doesn't need any more money, that country either.
Exactly. That each boat, that berthing, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars it would be taking that from 758 people just to park their boat there.
I think it's like $300,000 a day or something.
It's something crazy. Yeah,
it's something for the big bird.
Yeah,
for the big boats.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
I can't imagine it.
Yeah, it's there's so much money. Brings in so much money. That's a good segue, I think.
To Formula 1.
Yeah. Great segue.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about on this as well for a complete different reason of Silverstone.
Yes.
But Tommy, you've talked up this two-stopper.
Oh,
He's talked it up for years.
Yeah.
Let's say years.
Yeah.
It's I said to Tom, well, where were we? We were on the phone. I said, Tom, give me, and I think I told you to write this down. Give me a percentage. Is it gonna work or is it not gonna work? Tom said 80% chance it's gonna create good racing.
70%.
Go on.
Give me that 10%, please. That's 70%. It's gonna work.
Yeah.
30% is not gonna work.
I don't believe you, but I'll give it to you.
Thank you. I need it. I'm
because it didn't work.
I'm not only embarrassed, I'm appalled.
No, but it's
I'm disappointed. It is. I really thought this is a beloved event, worldwide.
Yeah, it's what they call a
The jewel in the crown.
Yeah, it's
North Carolina.
It's one of those events like
Indy 500,
Indy 500,
Yep.
Wimbledon,
British Grand Prix,
Yep.
so on. It's I'll forget the word for it, but I'll remember in a minute.
Le Mans 24 hour.
The thing is that but what I'll tell you, I'll give you this on that two-stop scenario.
The Triple Crown is the word you're looking for?
Well, what that did was, because we were talking about, we watched it last night, and it gave us interest in when they're going to come in.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't have that, it would just be like nothing.
Look.
Let's. I want to hear Tom's thoughts.
Yeah. So 12 months ago, we had a red flag on the first lap, and they all changed their tires, and it was a no-stop race, and it was the most boring race in Formula One history.
They're just going around and
This year, we had the pre-race excitement. There was going to be a two-stop race. I didn't think it was going to happen like this, where the teams were going to purposely slow down their drivers to let their front driver pit. I mean, I didn't think that would ever be the case.
because of strategies.
Strategy. And look, and you're right. The first, I'm going to say 5 laps, 10 laps of the race, it was more exciting, but it was just so unnatural by the end. And that's what was disappointing. I'd rather still watch last year's race than this year's race.
Yeah.
I know it added a little bit of excitement, but it was just so off the... we had George Russell cutting the corner to get in front, and then
try and take a penalty,
and then gets a drive-through penalty, takes the penalty, still comes out in front because they're going so slow behind him. It was just such an unnatural, not Formula One racing.
They were milking every advantage they could,
Yeah.
that, which is what of course you're going to do that. You're going to do what you can with the rules.
Yes.
Right?
I'm unfortunately going to go through the results. Now, Lando Norris, congratulations. I mean, it's... he takes the win for McLaren.
say it with more.
all those Norris memes will have to change now. Won't they?
Yeah. Charles Leclerc second, Oscar Piastri third, Verstappen fourth, Hamilton fifth, Isaac Hadjar sixth, Ocon seventh, Lawson eighth, Albon ninth, and Carlos Sainz Jr. in 10th place.
Where's the Doohan replacement?
Oh, he was 2 laps behind in 13th.
Yeah,
but you know what? The results don't matter. That's the thing. It's that whole from probably 6 backwards. It was all just a fabricated result. So we can't even say, oh, he had a good race. He had a good race, because it was all just strategy, and no one's shown their true talent and
it's like an exhibition race.
It was like an exhibition race.
Let me ask you this, Tom. Because I haven't read into this at all. Is this what the public think as well? Like, is this just a common thought?
Oh, very much so.
Is that what everyone's thinking?
I think this 2-stop thing is something they can continue with going forward in Monaco. I definitely think, but it needs tweaking. It needs as Martin was saying through the race, he said, it needs tweaking. It needs probably you need to take the first pit stop between lap 0 and 20 or something like that. But it's just too... I don't know. It's just too unnatural for me, being a Formula One fan for so many years, that they have to do this to make the race exciting. The fact of the matter is they need to change the track.
The cars are too big for it.
Cars are too big. The cars are going 150 mil, narrower in 2026. Who cares? It's 15 centimeters. It's not going to make a difference.
No.
There's no chance of passing in the track. Going through the years, it's just gone less and less and less. There was absolutely no chance of a pass. You know, there was guys going up to 7 seconds a lap slower, still couldn't get past.
But I think that's just Monaco. I guess it's Monaco now.
It's just Monaco.
Yeah.
They have to change the circuit, and that's the only thing that can happen.
You can't do it though, can you? There's no where else you go.
You can turn left. You can turn left where you turn right at the tunnel.
You're correct. Yeah, there is something they can do, but it depends if they think it's worth doing, if it's worth spending the money. Like it's still going to be a sellout. Everyone's still going to go to the race.
Yeah, and it's still a hallmark event.
People are still going to watch it.
It's a hallmark event for a driver. It's one to win.
It is.
You know, even though they all know it's in, but it's good to have that, you know, Monaco under your belt. Right?
Yeah, it's 100%. So look, the only thing for me is if they built a purpose-built track going out into the water a kilometre straight, and then hairpin it a kilometre straight back, and then it goes into the tunnel.
Like a pontoon.
I mean, that's the only chance. But for me, it's sort of and they say it's now it's turning into a curtain raiser for the Indy 500. That's how boring it's become for a lot of people.
It's not. You're right. It's not going to change. It generates too much money. Everyone's docking their boats in there. Everyone still watches it,
and it's the place to be seen. Like I said, it's all about everything's about money.
Yeah,
you follow the money trail everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's generating, and it's got television and that, why would you give it up?
Yeah, it's just super disappointing.
It was a shit show with the whole Mercedes thing and everything. Though it was just a bit embarrassing.
I'm going to go on the. I reckon Mercedes' strategy was the worst I've ever seen in Formula 1 history. I mean, we had Racing Bulls, who were renowned to be the worst strategists, probably had the best strategy.
They did, yeah.
Because I was texting Dad and I said, Dad, I reckon they're going to slow. I'm not saying I called it, but I reckon they're going to slow Lawson up and Hadjar will pit. Hadjar pits, comes back in front of Lawson. I go, I reckon they're going to do it again. 4 laps later, maybe 6 laps later, Hadjar came in and pitted and then came in front of Lawson. He was going that slow. And then, James Vowles, team principal of Williams, came on and said, this is not racing, this is ridiculous. But then he did it as well with the Williams.
Well, you got to follow what's
you have
going
to.
on. Yeah.
And then, but the thing is with Mercedes going on back from that point, they did nothing. They didn't try anything. They didn't try to pit. They didn't try to if Russell was going to cut the corner and go through on Albon, he should have done it 40 laps ago. He shouldn't have done it with 10 laps to go. So just a bit of a farcical event, to be honest with you. But as again, it's all about Saturday qualifying. It was stunning seeing those cars around that tight little circuit, and that sun was shining.
Yeah.
All the pretty girls on the boat. It's still an amazing event.
It's a spectacle. It's a hallmark event.
Yeah,
and that's just.
And you know what? I get to work today. James and I always talk about this, and you get to work, and we're talking to guys at work who watch it, but they're not true fans of 20 years like myself. They're like, oh yeah, the race was okay. It was a little bit more exciting. But then you look at the die-hard fans, you go, this is tough to watch because it's, They were talking today they should do a Joker lap. So next year, instead of, how Russell went straight through the chicane, you should be allowed one of them every race.
I'm telling you, that's probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen. Because you're, as a fan that's, been involved in sport for 20 years, you're probably outnumbered.
Yeah, I know.
I know. At the moment. So, I could see anything like that happening. Yeah,
a Joker lap. You get one a race or something. Which I don't know what they can do.
Like a DRS.
They can't do anything. I think they just either you put a lap limit on when you can pit for a 2-stopper, or you just leave it as it always was.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing's for sure: if they canned that race event, it'll be more of an uproar than anything.
Oh, it's never getting canned. And look, it's money, isn't it? Money. They're talking about Imola's going for more reports.
But that looks great on television.
It looks awesome on television.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia have come in and they're going to have 2 races.
Yeah, talk about money.
That's money. Yeah. It's all about money.
5 people go there.
2 races.
But Imola's where bloody tragically Senna died and Roland Ratzenberger died there that year. And
Well, Imola's it was the brainchild of Stefano Domenicali, who's their CEO of Formula One, and he resides there. It's his he lives there, and he wanted it back on the calendar when he came back to Formula One. But I think the ship sailed and he's seen the dollar signs.
I've been to that track at Imola. And
well, apparently it's eerie. It's like it's so history.
I tell you what, it was amazing because we were there. It was a Superbike type track day there. And we rolled in and I'm thinking, this is going to be a track like go anywhere. It's literally in the middle of town.
Yeah.
But a track goes out and there's a park and there's women with their babies in prams, walking around the park and stuff like that, and bikes are flying around.
Yeah, it's cool.
But you look at the grandstands and they're all old concrete
Yeah,
look like all bunkers,
old fashioned.
And yeah, really, it's really amazing. A lot of history there.
Couple of points from the race. Pierre Gasly, a big no. You don't crash the car with a wheel hanging off it and then get back to the pitch. You park the car.
Didn't mind that, but just throw up something.
It was just a slight wheel alignment issue.
But you know what?
I was waiting for that.
But you know what? It would have thrown up.
out.
And it showed, and it did show that I think they were scared, the FIA, of throwing a safety car out because they just thought what will happen is they're going to throw a safety car out. Everyone's just going to come pit twice, and then the race keeps going. There was debris all over the race. No VRC, no safety car for that. They quickly just pick up the thing, green flag again. I find that really interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Great point.
Yeah, it's like normally that would be at least a VRC.
Yeah, for sure.
Or a full safety car to get. There was so much, and then within a lap, they picked up the rubble. And I have to admit, those Monaco Marshals are the best in the world. They are phenomenal. How quickly they can get cars off that track, how quickly they can fix everything up is amazing.
Did you see the footage of the little fella?
No.
The marshal in the tunnel?
Yes.
And it was like how to do your job without doing your job. And he's like, there's like 6 marshals pushing an F1 car. And there's like the little fella just like running along, barking orders, and they stop. And then he kind of moves around, pretending to do something busy. And they move it again. And then he just barking orders. Little fella.
Pretending to touch things and stuff.
Exactly. It was so funny.
That is funny. Well, George Russell conked out in the tunnel in qualifying. And he started to hop out of his car, and the marshals were coming over, and they're like, "What are you doing? Get back in the car!" Because you got to get back in your car, and they're going to push you out.
It was probably that incident.
It was because the truck can't go. Obviously, I don't think it can go under the tunnel and pick you up. So because it can't sort of tilt down, so you have to be pushed out. But there it was. I suppose it probably was the same.
Yeah,
same
it's
incident.
probably that. The little fella.
The little fella.
I can say that because I'm under 6 foot.
But like I'm watching F3 and F2, you can't even pass. It was nearly impossible to pass in those categories.
Yeah.
And they're tiny little cars.
Yeah.
So, yes, the size of the cars is a massive issue, but it's a circuit at the end of the day. No one's willing to just do a banzai move because you looked at that. Kimi Antonelli in the first lap, and then the only pass that happened in the race was Bortoleto had to be shoved into the barriers.
Yeah.
So
soft barrier, wasn't it? Very soft.
Very soft, yeah.
But it's not so much the width. I mean, obviously the width we're passing, but the length of the car. I mean, you know that hairpin you see in that real tight hairpin, they go around that famous one. The car can barely make it around.
They have to put a new steering rack
they do.
on the car just for that corner.
Yeah.
And they got it. It's an amazing. It's like they designed the car at the start of the year for 2 things. It has to go around Monaco and it has to go up Eau Rouge in Spa.
Yeah.
That's the 2 requirements. So the car can't be too low and it has to have these certain aspects.
The La Rouge at Spa Francorchamps. Yeah. Yeah,
because they bottom out. So they, if you design a car that didn't go through that corner, you've seen the incidents over the years. So I have actually got here, James, 70% sure before the race that it'll be a 2-stop will make it interesting. So it was 70%, and I wrote sure SHAW.
Going back to that,
it's a sure thing, right?
That's it.
Going back to that note's very sus that he has to clarify the clarification.
He's still angry about the David Alonso 19.
Yeah, you got me there. I'm completely shocked at that. Yeah. I had to actually double check just in case Kennedy a different Alonso, like Alonso Lopez or something.
Oh, you were talking about Indy before. How many hot dogs was it?
Well, yeah, the Indy 500 was. I'll go through some of the stats while we've got a little bit of break. He cut Formula One pretty quickly.
No, it just came into my mind. I thought it was interesting.
So they drank in the Indy 500. They drank 1.1 million beers. They drank 18,000 gallons of Pepsi. If laid end to end enough hot dogs to line the 2.5 mile oval more than 2 times.
That's wild.
If you laid bratwurst again twice, 12,000 pounds of burgers, 2,500 pounds of chicken strips, 27,000 pounds of fries, 500 gallons of ketchup, and 320,000 pounds of ice. 350,000 people were at.
And I think that's why America has an obesity problem right there.
I thought you were reading out your food list for your party the other week.
1.1 million beers.
1.1, how many beers?
1.1 million.
1.1 million beers.
3 beer for every person that were there. Obviously, some people have 25 and some people have 0, so it all evens out, doesn't it? But we'll go back to that in a sec.
That's wild.
500. But yeah, for me, it's super disappointing because it is a crown jewel on the F1 calendar. and everyone wants it to work. Everyone is excited about watching it. Everyone is, it's a majestic place, but the race is just never has lived up since the Senna days. It really hasn't.
Nah, that's fair enough. It is what it is.
It is
you
what it
just got to put up with it.
Yes.
We actually looked up lap times from the Senna days to Formula 1 now. They're like 12, 13, 14 seconds a lap quicker.
Yeah.
Now. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's a tiny little track, but it's still...
I know.
You can just see how much torque and grip they have coming out of the corner. That's where all the times we made up.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's like, and the track was different back then. It wasn't as tight. It wasn't as tight back then. So it's probably more 20 seconds quicker now. They're crazy how fast these cars are in that trim with that full downforce package.
There's two notes that I've got about this is I think it's like how did I write this? Getting out of the way in Monaco is art. I think that is one of the hardest things you can do in Formula 1 is just giving someone the room to actually do a quick lap in Monaco because there's no room.
We looked at Hamilton got a 3-place grid penalty with Verstappen as well.
Yeah.
So.
But it's just it'd be such a hard thing to do. So and then with that as well, one of the amazing things with Monaco is yes, it's so tight, there's no passing, but just the actual like driving and how it's just a game of millimeters where they're just kissing the walls.
We were watching that. It looked like you could put a feeler gauge to the tire in the wall.
I know, it's crazy.
How tight and close.
And some of those corners, they actually have to turn in to the wall and then let the car slide past the wall.
Drift through.
Yeah, it's incredible.
We can say, we can talk how boring it is, but that's where you see how good these drivers are.
Yeah.
Because like trying to play that even on a game, I always hit the wall. They're millimeter perfect. It doesn't look real sometimes.
No. Well, they also say Monaco is the opposite of every other weekend where the practice sessions and the qualifying are the most exciting and the race is the most boring. Usually it's the practice sessions that are the most boring. The race is the most exciting part. So it is what it is. But I just thought this would add something, but it actually made it worse.
70%, mate. I'll give it to you. 70%.
It wasn't a sure thing.
Wasn't a sure thing. Never is.
But yeah, that's all I've got, James, on F1 this week. So
what do we got next? So we've got Aragon next for MotoGP, and we've got what's next for Formula 1?
Formula 1, we've got your favourite track, Barcelona.
Stinker.
Well, yeah, it's in a week's time. So Nah, it should be good. It should be interesting. There's a lot of things happening now from our point of view with Piastri in this championship. Can Red Bull fight back? There's rule changes happening in Barcelona we spoke about a few weeks ago where apparently it's going to slow down the McLaren slightly, allegedly. All reports paraphrase, everything like that. But we'll see what happens.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it is.
Barcelona is just traditionally not a great track for Formula 1.
Well, fixing that last corner's been good.
Yeah.
That's going to be the most exciting thing, obviously, that they changed that back a couple of years ago. So that adds a little bit more excitement.
It just seems weird that they race it, don't you reckon? It just doesn't seem like a Formula 1 track. Like, just what Formula 1 is, you wouldn't think going to Catalunya. Yeah. I don't know. Am I weird for saying that?
Yeah. It's definitely more of a motorcycle racetrack than a... But you got to remember, though, Formula 1 wasn't big until Fernando Alonso came about. You got to remember this.
In Spain?
In Spain, it wasn't big. It was all bikes.
Yeah, bikes are definitely it's almost as big as football.
I think Alonso, is... And please, I'll be fact checked on. He's the first Spanish world champion in the history of Formula 1.
At least modern world champion.
Oh yeah, since 1950. So for me, you got to remember a lot of these Spanish tracks, like Jerez, for instance, are built around bikes. They're not built around cars.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference.
Yeah, that's good. Well, are they still going to that Madrid straight circuit, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Circuit del Madrid.
From reports, that Circuit del Madrid. From reports,
Atletico Madrid.
That may not replace Barcelona, though, from all reports. That may replace Imola instead of Saudi. Who knows? Time will tell. But that's another street circuit. It's probably similar more because they've had computer images of the track more similar to like an Azerbaijan sort of thing.
And they had a Valencia street circuit.
That was cool. I love that.
That was a great. Remember that fast left?
Yeah, they ran out of money. The Valencia they just ran out of money. It was unbelievable.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
They spent all this money and they just made nothing over the 3 years. And the track's still there. Like half the track's still there because obviously it's a street circuit, but purpose built. But yeah, I mean, I think there's the pit building now is just full of homeless. Like it's just crazy. Like so European, isn't it?
Oh, that's hilarious. That was a good track.
It was a great track.
I don't know. It's just
Famous incident. Webber went upside down, did a backflip there over the
landed it, drove, and then actually won the race afterwards.
Alonso won there in 2012, and it was Alonso, Schumacher, and Raikkonen podium, which is one of the best races I've ever seen.
That's cool.
And Vettel,
your arch nemesis,
my arch nemesis back then, had an engine failure or something along the lines of that, and it was a crazy race. Alonso crying on the radio with his Spanish flag. It was really cool.
In the Ferrari?
In the Ferrari. Should have won the championship that year.
Yeah.
But the Italians,
Anyway.
Vettel won the last 10 races of the year or something. So
Germans, mate. Go past the Germans.
Sebastian Vettel, yeah.
They're pretty ruthless, the Germans, aren't they, Dave?
He goes, yes, and yes again.
Yeah, that was one of his celebrations. That's gold, isn't it?
yes,
and
yes
yes
again.
It's so German.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that when he was running that race.
That's the most German celebration ever.
Yeah, he crashed once. He goes, out, crash. Dad loves that one. He always, out, crash. That's all he says on the radio. Oh, that's when Kvyat ran up the arse of him in turn 1 and then ran up the arse again of him in turn 2 into the barrier. Classic. That's funny. In Russia, that was Russia. We won't be going back there for a while.
Sochi? Is that when they raced in Sochi? Yeah, everything there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They had Putin on the bloody podium.
Yeah, they did.
And Hamilton sprayed him with champagne.
Wild.
So it is wild. Going back, I mean, it's a different world now.
Different world now. Anyway, that's all we got for F1.
Jeez, yeah, that's it.
Anything on Indy?
Well, no, I mean...
just the hot dogs?
Just the hot dogs, really. Alex Palou won the race.
Beautiful.
I watched the highlights right up to the actual... where it finished. Yeah. I couldn't get there today. I was watching in between. Poor Scotty McLaughlin crashed out on the siding lap. He just lit up.
Saw the results. It was minus like 199 laps. I'm like, what the hell?
They do about... I don't know if it's about 3 or 4 laps behind the safety car before the race starts, and he crashed behind the safety car.
Why? How'd he do that?
Don't know. He just lit up the rear tyre and... Yeah, straight into the wall. So he's crying, and it was almost like Bagnaia or Quartararo on his knees and in distraught. So the thing is with Indy as well, it goes over 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Countless practice sessions, qualifying to get actually into the race, then qualifying for the grid, and then they finally get there, and then he crashes on the siding lap.
It's just such like a non-American thing to say, but 2 weeks just to learn how to drive in a circle.
Well, it's a good point. Actually, you know what? It actually is a very cool event. They do actually have the Indy road course event.
That same week?
No, on the Sunday.
Oh, okay.
And then they start the practice week. Then there's a qualifying week, and then the race.
That's cool. It would be an amazing event.
So it's like a 2 week.
It'd be great to go.
It's a 2.5 week Indy event, and people would go to both and stay there for 2 weeks with their,
And their speed they're going through, it is.
It's 240 mile an hour.
It's just, and it's not like really a circle, because it's sort of like, apexes on these corners, right? Because you see in certain parts of that.
Look, it's oval racing, but it takes so much skill.
Dangerous.
It's like a tri-oval, I guess.
Yeah.
Indy probably has the gnarliest.
Indy is just a big oval.
So you're thinking of Daytona.
NASCAR is a tri-oval.
Daytona is that more of that triangle, but the Indy is exactly just a perfect oval.
Perfect oval.
And is but it's amazing. Like, it's so exciting, and they're racing like that, and that's all you need, close racing, to make it exciting.
That's true.
It's not about the track.
True. And they're on the edge because they have some gnarly crashes.
They get loose through the corner.
Yeah.
And then I mean, they're the worst crashes in history.
Yes, they're going so far. And there's walls. There's no runoff.
Yeah.
You couldn't imagine doing that in the 80s and the 90s.
Well, I remember watching that, and they used to do. Remember the fuel, which was burnt clear.
Yeah,
it was clear. It had no flame. You would see some guy in the pitch running around. Yeah. It was just unbelievable.
What fuel is it? Ethanol, isn't it? Ethanol they use, I think. Yeah, and
it burnt clear. You couldn't see it, and it was just frightening.
Imagine that.
So you just see someone running around,
and they're like trying to roll on the ground. You can't see a flame,
and no one knows what's going on until they see that.
Yeah.
What about motocross? What about Jet Lawrence?
Yeah, Jet Lawrence goes one. He's bloody running the show now.
He's crying as well. Isn't he? On his knees and
first race back after doing his ACL.
Yeah, it's
bang
amazing.
Bang goes 1-1. Has an amazing battle with Tomac. Dad and I watched a bit of it.
So he's back pretty quick.
Nah, he's been like a year, bro.
Has it been a year?
Yeah,
God, that's gone quick.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
Has it been a year?
He basically missed the whole Supercross season, and it's close to a year. Seriously.
It's almost like Marquez-esque. Whoever's won a race in the last year shouldn't count. It should be asterisks.
Yeah, because
the best isn't in there.
Yeah,
you got to beat the best to be the best. You know?
But also you got to beat who you're racing at the time.
Yeah.
But it is wild. Him coming back and just going 1-1. It's awesome. Had a great race with Tomac, and everyone wants to see him and Tomac because Tomac was injured as well when Lawrence had all his crazy wins.
Yep.
So it was good to see an amazing battle with those guys. And congratulations to Jet. But it's just crazy seeing these brothers like Hunter and Jet,
Alex,
buddy,
Mark and Alex
and Mark.
I know, where does that come from?
It's weird.
You know, like just to get one to an elite area.
Yeah.
To get two up there, you know, wow.
It is. It is very much a vow.
Whether the two, I mean, it's the two premier categories on two wheels. Brothers are dominating, aren't they? It's crazy. It is crazy. It is. So
I don't know when you would see that ever again. Again, Alex Marquez, though, going back to him real quick, like he's like a Zarco. Like you'd think he's past his prime, gone to a few teams, and now he's winning, fighting for a title. Like it just
shows you how good this Ducati is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was not nowhere, but he was sort of just thereabouts, right?
He was kind of nowhere. He was on that Honda, just dogging it.
You put him on the right machine and the right team, and
for sure.
you got the talent, and it gets him there.
Definitely.
You know.
All right. What are we? Tell me, what are we doing?
Did they come out? Just quickly on that? Did they come out pretty much even on points after the weekend? Because Alex won the sprint, didn't he? And he would have got 3 more points, but he finished 6th. Oh no, Mark still would have extended his lead.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he went from 19 or 20 points to 25.
Okay, well it's not. It's damage. Like after crashing out in the first corner for Alex. I mean, I know Mark crashed as well, but it's a damage control weekend as well, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex just has to win, and Mark's got to bid it again, which there's every chance. Christ almighty.
It must have been hard conditions, but even still, like I remember saying that Dad when remember when Bagnaia and Mark ran off basically the same corner, and they were with each other. They just both looked so uncomfortable, and I'm like, one of these guys is going to fall off, and I really thought it was going to be Mark again.
Well, when Bags went down, I said, "Oh, it's Marquez." I thought it was Marquez.
I'm like, he's down. Of course, you're going to think that.
Yeah.
Because I thought, there's no way Bags will crash. I mean, he's just rock solid after that point in time in the main race.
Very rarely.
You're right though. There was nothing. There was no aggressive turning from Marquez. It was tentative the whole time.
Yeah, it was weird.
That medium tire, man. It wasn't the right tire to be on. That's for sure.
No, you're right, 100%.
I'd rather be on the soft tire that's not going to last, but not crashing. All right, and then just trying to manage it.
All right, T. Shavs though. When does the gamble ever work?
Yeah. 100%.
This is probably two times and
I tell you,
two times in the whole pod that we've done. It's worked.
A gamble works when it works.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just not often. Ask Jack Miller.
Yeah,
that's it. You know.
All right, world famous.
Hot takes.
Thanks to everyone messaging us. We have had again a lot. I say it every week, but our Instagram blew up, especially after Senna won. So it was wild. At Matt WI93. Tommy, you're going to like this. Actually, you're both going to like this. Nick Harris should have been the best guest commentator for during the practice sessions at Silverstone.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Just a classic voice. Is he still active social media and stuff? I mean, I don't really follow. Is he just sort of enjoying his retirement?
I think so. When we did the pod, and if you haven't listened to it, listen to Gavin Emmett.
Yes.
When we did it in October, one of our podcasts, because we ask him and he goes and sees him. I think when they go to Silverstone off season, says g'day, but I don't know if he's really doing anything. He's probably sick of talking.
And on that, go back and listen to our Senna Aegis, both our because we had 2 pods with Senna, and if you sparked your interest winning the race, because that's what happens when someone wins, they become the more popular person. Go back and listen to that, because that was really
really good. There was one of us two, I think in Feb last year before the season, and then obviously in October of me, you and Daniel and Senna as well. So really good listens. And Senna's probably one of the most raw people that we've actually spoken to.
I know, and he was 18 back then and hadn't ridden in when we first interviewed him. He hadn't even been in the paddock yet.
Yeah, he did a couple wild cards.
Sorry. Yeah.
Good call.
Go on.
Boy at Willie_Nels. Was there actually oil on the track, or did they just want a Spanish reset?
Yeah, I reckon there's a
It's
sniper.
just a conspiracy theory coming out.
I reckon there's a sniper rifle that just got that oil tank in and just starts.
Was there a grassy knoll nearby?
I think Julian Marquez had a gun to Carmelo's head going, you better restart this race. Red flag it.
But yeah, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? And I'm telling you, if Bagnaia crashed and that happened, it wouldn't have been a red flag. It just wouldn't have been. You know, it's when the luck's on your side, it's on your side. You know?
Well, you're right.
You know what I mean?
I'm not even going to say that. You're right, 100%.
I think a business Simon Crafer involved with all this.
He's only with the discipline.
Yeah, we're going to be very careful who has the role in FIM and Dorna.
It's FIM.
They're very sensitive about it, Davos. So we've got to be very careful.
Yeah.
Dorna don't decide the rules in the sport.
Yes.
So we always blame Dorna for the rules, but they don't decide it. It's the FIM.
Yeah. Fran will be happy with that.
Fran.
Queen Fran, is that what you call
No,
it?
I can't. No, don't call it that. Don't call it. Didn't like that. Go on.
At Matt Stevens, as much as we all love shitting on Mav Fraud Yalis, he calls it. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Finishing 11th after qualifying 18th is still respectable. T-Shav, what do you think?
No. Come on.
He's OG Matt Stevens. You can tell him
I
off.
know Matty Steves, but there was a lot of riders around him that got also, penalties and things. And no, he had a shocking weekend. He should have been up there with Acosta. Acosta finished 6th.
I like it.
But still love you, Matty. Keep him coming.
Keep him coming. We like you. Shit take button.
Hey, all opinions are welcome. I mean,
of course.
Opinions are like assholes. We all have one.
Everyone's got one. What it is, it's like I respect your opinion as long as it's the same as mine.
I love to agree with you, but then we're both
wrong. Exactly.
If we give him shit, means we like you anyway. At Tom McLean, the David Alonso floodgates are now open. Moto2 field should be scared.
Yeah, I touched on that. I think it's going to send shockwaves through the industry for him to be up there again. But yeah, I think we've got to wait till Aragon to judge this, because I think it was such an unusual track conditions, wind and everything like that. But yeah, he's got to be up on confidence, doesn't he?
Yep, 100%. And I think he's going to be up and down, but the confidence is obviously there now. He loves that track. It's going to be very interesting. And he's gone to Aragon. He's probably spun 1 million laps around there next time. It's just, bro, Moto2, Moto3, MotoGP. It's just all so exciting. For so many different reasons, it's so exciting.
It is. It is so exciting.
And I could go on a rant about that. At I'm_Mick_James_bitch. The red flag restart rule is a bit unfair. If you come off before the red flag, then unlucky.
Yeah, I think 3 laps is a long time, but there's got to be reasoning around it.
I think it's that oil thing, really.
Yeah, we touched on that.
At 50_87, how many races before the end does Mark secure his title?
Hopefully in Malaysia.
Yeah. What's that? Is that the second last round?
I think so.
I think it's going to be done before Phillip Island.
I think it will as well. I think it will.
Curdy, are you able to just look up the...
No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. There might be one in between. Yeah, Portugal. So we've got Malaysia, Portugal, then Valencia. You got to remember as well, with sprint races, you got another 12 points for a win, so 37 points a weekend maximum. So it does extend the championship further as well, because you have to win by a certain amount of points, obviously. So he's got to have a lead of 74 points going to Malaysia to win the championship.
Well, he's got exactly, I think, 74 points on Bags right now. It's just not Alex Marquez.
Well, we need, what's going to start happening? Bags will, if he finally works this bike out, he's probably going to start taking points off Alex. That's something you have to think about as well.
Good point. Great point. At Jared.Madsen, OG.
Jazz is tired today, mate. He's tired. He's watched everything. He has watched everything. From 8:30 last night till 10 this morning, he's been on Motorsport Watch.
Yeah. I love that. I respect. That's our fans.
Yeah. Yeah, good on you, mate.
This is for you, Tommy. Cadillac should sign Alex Palau.
Oh, well, he won the Indy 500, so yes. Yeah, no, I don't know enough about that, to be honest with you. I mean, IndyCars is just such a step behind Formula One. I mean, it's a massive step. It's not. You can't even compare the two.
Sebastian Bourdais, who dominated... Okay, don't know much, but he dominated IndyCar for years, went to Formula One, did sweet F4.
Did sweet F4. Now, the other thing is Robert Schwartzman, who was in F2 for many years, went to Indy and he was on pole for the Indy 500.
Oh, right.
Okay, so he never even made it to Formula One. He's gone to Indy and gone pole. Now, he did nothing in the race, but to then go to a thing on his debut in Indy and get pole, I mean, that tells you everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the skills, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
And completely different cars, like aero, everything would be so different.
Yeah, 100%. And look, not saying that a Indy driver can't come to F1 and succeed. I'm not saying that, but the level is so different.
I think the balls on like the IndyCar drivers and Indy 500 with like the lack of aero and how skirty these cars are is pretty full on though.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You've seen a lot of Formula One drivers go to Indy, but not Indy drivers go to Formula One.
Yeah, and look, it's normally
Montoya. He went, didn't he?
He did, and but
Montoya,
the great Michael Schumacher said, he goes, "Why would I even bother going to Indy? It's a step below Formula One. It's far too dangerous doing the Indy 500. I don't want to do it."
But it would be cool if you've had a career in F1 to then challenge yourself like Fernando Alonso.
And Emerson Fittipaldi did it, and Mario Andretti did it.
Yeah,
and,
well, he's more. Yeah, he's known. He's
back in the day.
Now. But Fernando Alonso was going for that Triple Crown, which we were looking for that word before, Dave. And you win Monaco, you win the 24-hour Le Mans, you win the Indy 500. Only one person's done it, Gilles Villeneuve, I believe. So, and that's what Fernando Alonso was going for. He was leading the Indy 500 in a McLaren, and the engine blew up.
Mate, Jazz will be loving all this talk.
Oh, he'll be, yeah. Man, he's been watching motorsport for 12 hours. You imagine how many things he had in between? You know what I'm saying, Jazzo?
He ain't you, Jazz. You're an issue. You're an issue.
Go on. I've got my own hot take here waiting for a message.
You're a bit of a Jazz butt. Tom downloaded Twitter back in the day when we watched Le Mans 24-hour. Probably put in a good 50 tweets. Finally got up on there. Remember they used to read out everyone's tweets at 2 in the morning? You got your tweet read out?
Yeah, read out and said, greetings. Yeah, said greetings from
from Melbourne, Australia.
No, he read it out in commentary.
At Tom Shavulak. Yeah. Greetings from Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah. It was cool.
Did you have it? Were you just lying in bed watching it and you had a little smile on your face?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't there was no recording or anything back then, I suppose.
Do you remember what you said or what it was about?
No, I was just like greetings from Australia, watching the race 2 a.m. in the morning, loving life or something.
I love how they did that. Do they still do that?
Yeah.
That's
well,
good.
in the Tour de France, they have tour dog and tour cat.
Yeah, that's good.
So you send your photo of your cat in and they put it up on the screen, but they haven't done it for Monty or Maxi yet, so still trying.
Oh, fuck the cats. You want to put yourself up there?
No. Fuck the cats.
Such a D-Shore answer. Such a D-Shore answer.
Put a photo of me up there.
Yeah. That's what I don't care about the cats. Talk about me.
Yeah, that's right.
How can I make this conversation about me?
What have you done for me lately?
Tour de France is coming up. Add that to your bloody list of things to watch.
That's a good thing to watch, actually. It's good for it's more like a tourist bloody.
That's Tour de France is awesome,
especially on big TV.
Don't knock it till you try it. Anyone listening to this,
no, it's good.
100%.
Don't knock it till you try it,
and watch it for the scenery,
and
the history rather than what's actually happening. You know, and that's what Monaco. It's similar to Monaco.
Yeah,
you got to treat it like that.
It's actually good watching that when they're doing the big hill
everything.
climbs.
The hill climbs are like legit,
and the sprint finishes and stuff are amazing. Yeah.
Do the Pyrenees when they finally hit the mountains in the Pyrenees. It's good.
The Alps.
And and it's good because see all the people on the side of the road. We've got their camper vans, they've got barbecues going.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's incredible what they do there.
People running up. Where's the sport where you can literally touch your hero?
And there's so many Aussies there. There's so many camper vans with Aussie flags on the top. There must be a lot of people that travel over there. I'd love to do it one day. Love to do it.
Adrian's done it. Talk to him about it.
Yeah.
At your boy D Silver 87S Drayson. Where is he from?
North Carolina, the jewel of the South. Believe it or not, Dave.
Yeah, gorgeous.
It's North Carolina.
Yep.
But it's the jewel of the South.
The jewel of the South.
Yes.
I love all their vehicles.
But people watch our pod because they love, or listen to the pod because they love our accents. I think the Australian accent is the dirtiest accent.
Yeah,
it's a shocking accent. We can't articulate words. Like the Poms have the best voice for radio, don't they?
VB long neck.
8:30 in the fucking morning.
The Poms got the voice for it. Like Richard Hammond when he was on the grid, he sounded so good.
Well, it's the same as in Indy. They've actually taken a British commentator. He does all the commentary there.
Nice.
It's incredible.
All the motor racing commentators being British is always good. James Hunt.
Shout out to Lee Duffy, the Aussie. He's done a lot of Indy,
ESPN,
Supercross, motocross, a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, he's got a really distinct voice actually for being an Aussie. Yeah, you're right.
Really good. At Drayson Silver, our boy, what does What does Bagnaia hate more, his 25 front end or the last name Marquez?
A bit of both, I think.
It's a bit of both.
That's a really well put together from Drace.
Yeah.
Because it's true. I mean, he'd banging his head together at the moment when he just doesn't know what to do. He really doesn't. And as we touched on, he doesn't know if he's riding a soft tyre, a medium tyre. He's got no feel in that front end. It's a real... He's 75 points behind.
He's in a hole.
3 race wins behind.
Yeah, he's in a hole. So. You can't see anything happening. I can't wait for Mugello. It's going to be so interesting to see how he tackles that weekend and how the Ducati tackles that weekend.
Yeah.
God, it's going to be good.
That's quick, that track. And
it's quick. But it's just Bagnaia territory. And every track that's been Bagnaia territory, he just hasn't done well.
Now, we're quick, and I think the fans are very quick to change their opinion on things. So I've got a hot take of my own.
Go on.
Cam Watts sent a message through yesterday.
Beautiful.
So big talking point out of Silverstone. Is it the end of Ducati's dominance?
No, come on.
Have the other manufacturers done enough to catch up and actually take the fight to Ducati? They might dominate the sprints, but they're starting to lose a bit over full race distance. Has the GP25 set a step back, or have the other manufacturers made a huge step forward?
The GP25 has had a step back. And the field is 100% closer. If it wasn't... and this is proven by Zarco passing Bagnaia in the sprint race. 100% proven. So...
But there's that Marc Marquez factor.
There's the Marc Marquez factor. There's the Alex Marquez factor. And the last 2 rounds have been a wild, windy or wet. Like Aragon, again, is where, even you said, Tom, he's probably going to be Ducati.
Yeah, look, and going back rounds ago, I mean, you had, in Qatar, we had Ducati on the podium. But then again, you have to look at Spain. You had Quartararo second.
Yeah.
Obviously Marquez crashing. You had the wild result in France. You had the even probably more wild result last night in Silverstone. But yeah, the cream will rise to the top.
I think the peak of Ducati domination is probably over. But the problem is you've just got 2 Marquez super fast.
But he's right that the other teams are, like we touched on before, Yamaha have got a solution there and they're starting to get it together. Honda certainly. Mm-hmm. In fact, we thought maybe, Yamaha were way ahead of Honda at one point, but they're sort of catching up. So there's some element in truth in that. However, it's like, I can draw the analogy with golf. Of all things, everyone can put down a 1-hole well. It's putting the 18 down. And that's what they've got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone...
That's a good way. Good way to speak of it.
Great analogy, Dave. Never thought I'd be talking to you about golf about 4 years ago. Now he plays every day. It's amazing. Crazy.
Half a champion.
Club champ in the gold category. 25 plus handicap.
That's the money making. That's the money making area.
The Div 5 of the club. It's the best Div to be in.
Div 5 Rezzies.
Yeah.
At Nicky D 3604, Zarco is a Honda rider. Zarco is a Honda rider capable of winning on the bike. All the rest lack consistency, which is 100% true.
Well, going back to the results I was just looking at, Zarco finished 4th in Qatar. He's had an amazing 5 weeks. Yeah. Amazing. So, he's just outperforming. Is he outperforming the bike, or is the bike good enough now? And there's 3 jokers on that bike with Marini Mir, and I'm not even going to say his name, Chandra.
I don't know, bro. I think it's too early to tell. I just think Zarco is not, no disrespect, but he's no Marquez.
He's no Marquez.
So I think the bike's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, fuck. No, the bike's not amazing, but it's just, he's just pulling results on it. Like, the bike has to be pretty good. It has to be pretty good.
It has to be pretty good, yeah.
Well,
to be second, but then again, I mean, Aprilia has come out from nowhere and won a race. So, yeah, we're jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's the golf thing. He's one good hole. Doesn't make it
Well, it's a Vinales factor.
Well, Zarco's had 4 good holes.
He has.
Yeah.
He's been consistent top 6.
Yeah, 100%. He has.
He's like a Tom Shav on the golf course.
Not on Sunday morning, that's for sure. I was like a Chantra. I was like Taka Nakagami.
Yeah, that's it.
The worst of Taka and the worst of Chantra put together.
Artisanal.bogan. If you x-rayed Johan Zarco, you would see a frothing Rottweiler in him. Dry P2. That's
dog jaw.
Said.
That's dog jaw.
Yeah.
He's amazing white line fever because he's such a calm, collective guy, and then he puts the helmet on, and he's throwing it up the inside. He had a couple of really rough passes coming up the inside of Woodcote.
Great name.
Really, that Honda has some serious sort of corner grip. So, just lacking, I suppose, out of the corners in the straights like the Yamaha is. So, but yeah, corner pace seemed amazing around the outside.
100%.
Yeah, but we always said that, the old line about any racer, motorcycle, car, whatever, you have to have that C in you, right?
Yes.
And it can be as calm as anything. You put that helmet on, and that's what, and everyone knows that. That's what those guys do. They just jam it up the inside somewhere, and because they want that space more than you do.
Yeah,
and,
a lot of people don't understand that as well. Number one ticket holder. It's called Papa. As much as I don't like Bezz this past 4 months, he was alone in development. He deserves it. Obviously, the race win. He deserves a race win, 100%.
Yeah, he does.
He was there. He won. Yeah, anyone that wins a race deserves it.
And it was all clean. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
But he'll be nowhere in Aragon.
Agreed.
Right, he'll be nowhere.
It's about backing it up, isn't it?
Yeah.
At Adrian Spinaz. You guys are like this. Didn't realise my hot take would be muting the UK anthem to save my ears. Lol.
Yes, you had that in your notes. It was. I hoped that the 30,000 fans that rocked up on Sunday.
Didn't see that.
They had better audio quality than what we got.
She was shit house as well.
What was this? The
you missed the national anthem. Oh, it was putrid.
I was the sound. Like, she probably did an okay job, but the audio was just terrible. It just sounded like the old fingernails on a chalkboard sort of thing.
Yeah,
it was horrendous. And you have a year to organise this stuff, and they completely fucked it. So
fluffed it, and it was straight after the French Le Marseillais or whatever they call it.
Oh, that was fantastic too.
And they're amazing. Everyone's into it, and then you go to the Poms, and they all just disgraceful.
But you're right. God Save the Queen.
Was it some dude out of the pub or something? Was it?
It's a shit anthem.
A shit ass anthem.
Yeah.
God Save the Queen, like
King.
King now.
Sorry, King means nothing these days.
Shit house.
Yeah, it means nothing.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. I mean, talk about national anthems. I mean, I think one of the best is the New Zealand anthem.
That's bloody left field.
No, the New Zealand's really good.
Yeah, well, you listen to it at Anzac Day. They
and you
play
hear it because it's half done in Maori and English, right? So
controversial.
I think it's got a really good.
Talk about a hot
to
take, that one.
Yeah, did we expect that from D Shore?
No,
I
you got
do like that.
Italy.
I was paying $1. You want to say the Americans?
The American one's a great one.
That's
too.
it. That's a great one.
The American ones is probably the best, and then they've got like 6 fighter pilots or a stealth bomber going over. Oh, that's good.
That is good.
Went to the Supercross at Las Vegas, and they did the same thing. It had
the blue. What do they call them?
Blue Angels.
Blue Angels.
No, these were just normal Air Force because I think Edwards
Add
Air
to the
Force
story.
Base.
Add to the story.
So we saw the Blue Angels in San Francisco.
That's right. You did too.
And but they came over right on cue.
Yeah,
right?
they're amazing.
It is incredible.
The fighter jets in Monza is good as well, isn't it? After the national anthem.
Yeah, you got to. I think when you have an event in your country, you got to show your force in as well.
Yeah,
and we have the roulettes go around.
Shit house.
I mean, it just looks shit house. It looks like we're just a country that has no. You want the Air Force.
Do you know
there.
how good would it be if you're in Phillip Island and in Albert Park? They got the national anthem, and then you've got like 4 F-22 Raptors.
Yeah.
It could just be F-16s going over, green and gold coming out. You need the smoke.
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as they sing Advanced Australia Fair, bro, how jazzed would you be after
amazing.
that?
They did that at Magello as well, up in Main Street. They had the Italian name.
Yeah, and they do it
and it was a
awesome.
red, white, and green.
Yeah,
smoke
it's amazing.
all the way up to Main Street.
No, that's what you should be doing.
And remember Bathurst?
Spend the money.
Remember the Hornet at Bathurst when we were up the top of the mountain, you could just see it coming around. But I think this time, I think it was at GP this year, they had one roulette, wasn't it? It wasn't even a green.
It was deplorable. It was like an old World War II Spitfire plane, but like...
I know, that would be cool, something like that. But
it wasn't that. It wasn't that. Yeah. It was like that kind of design, but a modern aircraft.
Remember they had like a Qantas flyover? Yeah. They had that flyover in the MotoGP?
Well, that was sponsored by Qantas.
That's right,
And
it was like, and all you hear is... Like, come on, we want Rome, and then everyone go, fucking hell, what was that?
Yeah, they normally run 18s there.
They need to do it on the national anthem.
They haven't done it for years.
They need to do it on the national anthem. The Americans and the Italians.
They haven't done it for years, and we need to sit down with Travis Hall again and talk to him.
Yeah, send the messages to him.
Yeah, we need that jet. I know, and they'd be like, it uses 14,000 litres of fuel or some crap.
But you'll be wanting that when the Chinese come down trying to bomb you.
Exactly right. We need that though in this country because we need a bit of patriotism back. We need a bit of what is it called when you got to get the young kids to war? What is it?
Conscription.
Yeah, we need that back.
Is it because we're over 30 now?
We're fine. That puts a backbone back in this country. All the way from South Carolina. Oh, North Carolina, Drayson. He'll know what it's about.
Mate, our furries, I don't think will be doing much anyway.
Oh, we'll get them there. Well, that'll sort them out. There won't be any bloody trans there. I'll tell you that for free, James.
I like your thinking, mate. I like your thinking.
There'll be buzz cut. That's it. No coloured hair.
I tell you one thing for sure. If they were doing the conscription, you'll be the first trans person to be going, no, I can't go. I can't go. I'm
over 30. Over 30. Can't go. Not fit for war.
Bloody window licking.
Yeah.
At Cooper Donald _, you guys really think the other manufacturers can close the gap with the upcoming CC change?
Yeah, I think it's proven now, 100%. We're going to get more wacky results than what we thought this year.
Yeah, 100%.
I think we all thought I think we're all thinking I think Marquez is going to win every race, either of them. But now I think it's going to add another dynamic. We've got a new track this year in
Hungary.
Yeah, is Finland as well? Kimi Ring.
They've been talking about Finland for
I
ages.
don't know if that's on it. I could be.
How do we not know this?
I could be wrong.
Yeah, I would love Finland to be on it.
The Kimi Ring. Yeah. It's been flooded and war torn for like 7 years. It's one or the other. Either the Ukrainian forces are there or it's flooded.
Well, we got Bruno back. Oh no, we don't.
Yeah, Bruno's back.
Oh, Bruno
is back. It's called something different now. Sorry, I got confused. It's called the
Circuit del Caro Abraham.
The Masaryk circuit.
That's
called.
a Czech. That's the old Bruno though.
Yeah, but it's obviously a sponsor or something now.
It's the Czech Grand Prix.
And Hungary, the Balaton Park circuit.
I played that track on the PlayStation.
Any good?
It's actually better than I thought.
You're right. No Kimi Ring just yet. So I think they're trying that for next year.
Hey, because flooded this year. The next year we war torn again.
Yeah, and Kazakhstan will be in as well, but that got... Yeah.
Is India in here?
No.
Can't, visa issues.
No, visa issues.
Too many dogs on the track.
Yep.
Too many dogs. Our boy Chocky Boyle at Lachlan.Boyle.
Hey, Chocks. Yeah. Good to have a chat to you.
Got probably one of the best looking R6s out. He's got like a full race spec looking leathers.
Looks cool. Really cool.
And I think I saw one of his Chocky reach out. Yeah, I saw one of your bloody posts. You got his bike in his living room. Dave Shaw spec. Looks cool.
That's really cool.
Looks really cool. At Lachlan.Boyle, Senna swearing in the post-race interview is as Aussie as it gets, which we love.
We love. Yeah,
we love. That's all our hot takes, fellas. We've been going for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, what, an hour or so?
2 hours, 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
I was worried my ears are so sore.
My arm's killing me here. This thing weighs a ton, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know. This thing was about 20 kilos.
He's not talking about my dong either.
Dave Shaw, always a pleasure as well.
Yeah, always a pleasure, mate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully the next pod... Well, we'll have you on back in July when we play again in the footy, but we'll have to be up in Harvey Bay in this famous...
Oh, no, we'll take you for a tour around the...
D Shaw's got one of the best looking garages you're ever going to see with... a whole lot of memorabilia, a whole lot of Ducatis, a whole lot of vintage motocross bikes.
Yeah. Thanks, guy. Well, if you stuck around to the end, thank you. 2 hour pod. That's probably our first one ever. So we had a lot to talk about. Lots to unravel. So
yeah. Thanks, guys.
See you later. Thank you.
Bye.